Chapter 1031. Eastern Sage. Qin Wendian roared in rage. The Dongxing Heaven Emperor gave the order to kill, completely disregarding the lives of countless people in this particle world. Rumble. A destructive might instantly enveloped the entire particle world. How powerful were immortal kings! They transformed into heavenly deity-like giants, standing tall in the air. When the immortal kings unleashed their might at the same time, it was sufficient to cause the entire particle world to feel an unparalleled pressure. At this instant, the people of this particle world all trembled. This might was too terrifying, they truly felt how weak they were. Those heavenly deity-like figures standing in the air were akin to divinities, yet also akin to devils. Nobody bothered with Qin Wendian. The Dongxing Heaven Emperor had already given the order to kill, and the battle instantly erupted. Those heavenly deity-like giants that were tens of thousands of meters in height stepped out, traversing vast distances with a single step. It was simply too terrifying. Although their bodies were incomparably gigantic, their speed didn't slow down at all. The distance they could traverse with a single step was simply too great. An incomparably gigantic shadow of fiend gods descended from the skies, blasting towards Qin Wendian, directly covering the entire space, capable of annihilating all existences. The speed of the attacks was as fast as a shooting star. Although Qin Wendian was already at the immortal foundation realm, he still felt his body trembling in the face of that unparalleled might. An immortal king from the immortal Qianbian gate stepped out. His body was similarly incomparably gigantic, and abruptly, a terrifying immortal light radiated from him as an incomparably gigantic astral tree manifested behind him. This ancient tree towered into the skies, resembling a true astral tree. It had countless vines and each of the vines shone with a dazzling runic light, resembling the power of law energy. Several attacks from the skies blasted into the astral tree. The destructive might ravaged the area, yet they were all destroyed by the layers of protection. How powerful! Lin Xian'er, who was beside Qin Wendian, felt her heart trembling. It was simply unimaginable that there was actually such a terrifying expert in this world. Indeed, the higher one's cultivation base was, the greater the qualitative leap in one's strength. The attacks of celestial phenomenon ascendants were already many times stronger compared to heavenly dipper sovereigns and Yuanfu sovereigns. But in front of immortal kings, it was like an ant in front of a giant. In the air, there was another immortal king. He punched out, causing countless ancient runes to appear in the air. Each rune contained a towering killing might, possessing true destructive might. Similarly, there was another extremely powerful immortal king who blocked his attack. This immortal king punched out, manifesting 3,000 beams of law energy that locked onto the ancient killing runes in the air. The power of his punch shook the heavens and earth, causing the entire space to tremble. In a short instant, a world-shaking battle erupted in the airspace of this particle world, causing the entire world to tremble. Although they were high up in the air, the battlefield was still within the boundaries of the particle world. For a battle of this level, if they were to attack a particle world, they would definitely be able to destroy it. At this moment, the entire particle world was trembling. Many people couldn't even stand stably as destructive beams of light rained down from the sky. The people below were all frantically trying to evade them. The aftershocks from the attacks of immortal kings weren't something they could defend against. At a certain location in the royal sacred region, a wave of sword chi slashed onto the ground, instantly splitting apart a huge crack. The people in the surroundings of that region were all killed by the sword chi. For a time, miserable screams shook the heavens and earth. Many people truly felt the threat of death. As the battle continued, the scenes of doomsday could be seen everywhere in the particle world. Even for the sacred royal city below Qin Wendian's feet, the aftershocks from the attacks were unceasingly blasted down. For example, the aftershocks from a palm strike from an immortal king was comparable to a gigantic ancient mountain, directly drowning an area of a few hundred miles, killing everyone there. When experts fought, the weak would always suffer. This was the cruelty of the martial world. For those who were weak, this was the cruelty of the martial world. Maybe in the past, life in this particle world was very peaceful. But when an immortal war occurred, no one would care about the lives of the weak. Eastern Sage clearly knew that the people here would be plunged into misery and suffering, but he still gave the order to treat this particle world as the main battlefield, disregarding the lives of the common people. Emperor Lord, do you have a method to leave this battlefield? Qin Wentian stared at the Emperor Qianbian's immortal sense as he asked. Just wait. Eastern Sage is personally planning to deal with the immortal Qianbian Gate. Back then when you rejected him at the Dongshengshan Gate, I even took 6 prefectures from him. Although he appeared calm on the surface, it's clear that he has always been planning to deal a fatal blow to the Dongshengshan Gate. It's just that I didn't expect him to use the particle world of your hometown as a breakthrough point to plan a war. The 1,000 Transformations Immortal Emperor slowly spoke. Seems like Eastern Sage's hatred for you is very deep. If not, he wouldn't be thinking about you so much. Being able to make an immortal emperor think about you so much, is this considered a glory or a calamity? In the future, I, Qin Wentian, will continue to grow stronger. Annihilating the Dongshengshan Gate will be my goal. Qin Wentian coldly spoke. During the battle, the Eastern Sage Immortal Sect actually sent more immortal kings to aid them. With such a lineup appearing in this particle world, it was simply like a war between the peak powers of the immortal realms. Qin Wentian. At this moment, a thunderous voice rang out in the air. 2 imposing silhouettes could be seen standing in the air. Qin Wentian actually recognized these 2 people. One of them was an immortal king general under the Dongxing Heaven Emperor, the Deep Flame Immortal King. He was one of the trusted subordinates of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor and was an extremely powerful immortal king. The other person was also a powerful immortal king, the master of the Scarce Moon Immortal Manor, the Scarce Moon Immortal King. The Scarce Moon Immortal King was also a personal disciple of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor, Kei Tianyi's elder. However, he actually died in the hands of Qin Wentian. This Scarce Moon Immortal King was a supreme character of a region and established an immortal manor in the territory of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. His personal strength was naturally extremely powerful as well. Right now, 2 extremely terrifying immortal kings appeared in this particle world. From this, one could see the determination of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. He wanted to kill all the experts from the immortal Qianbian Gate. If he won this war, he would directly attack the immortal Qianbian Gate and reclaim the 6 prefectures. He wanted to see who else would dare to seize the territory of his Eastern Sage Immortal Sect. Even Deep Flame and Scarce Moon are here. Eastern Sage, for the sake of this war, you must have mobilized quite a bit of your strength. The Emperor of Qianbian stared at the Dongxing Heaven Emperor in the air. The Dongxing Heaven Emperor was in charge of the Eastern Ascension 13 prefectures in the past and had many immortal kings under him. However, it was impossible for him to mobilize all the immortal kings in every single war. Usually, he would only mobilize those who could be mobilized. For this war, the Dongxing Heaven Emperor actually summoned so many immortal kings to this particle world. From this, one could see how strong his determination was. The Dongxing Heaven Emperor glanced at the Emperor of Qianbian, feeling somewhat unhappy in his heart. He discovered that in the camp of the immortal Qianbian Gate, there were some immortal kings whom he wasn't very familiar with. However, their combat prowess was so strong that even he was taken aback. These people, where did the Emperor of Qianbian gather them from to join his immortal Qianbian Gate? The bodies of the Scarce Moon Immortal King and the Deep Flame Immortal King also expanded in size, incomparably terrifying. Behind the Scarce Moon Immortal King, a crescent moon appeared. This crescent moon seemed to contain a fearsome might within it. The light from the Scarce Moon Immortal King cascaded downwards, shooting towards the ancient astral tree below. In an instant, that ancient astral tree was covered in a layer of frost, as though it was about to be frozen solid. The ancient tree was still radiating an incomparably powerful immortal might. Destructive runic lights radiated from each of its vines, clashing against the might of the Scarce Moon Immortal King. At this moment, the Deep Flame Immortal King coldly snorted as he moved towards the ancient astral tree. Behind him, a hellish sea of destructive fire appeared, as though the shadow of a king of destruction had appeared. A supreme immortal might gushed forth, as the flames from the depths of hell seeped into the ancient astral tree. The attacks of the deep flame immortal king and the scarce moon immortal king, one was ice, one was fire, one was cold, one was hot. In an instant, the ancient astral tree was being destroyed bit by bit. It wanted to struggle, but it was still weakening, unable to block such terrifying attacks. Humph, the deep flame immortal king coldly snorted. With a wave of his hand, boundless destructive hellfire gushed downwards, raining down on the particle world. Many of the hellfire that landed on the particle world was instantly incinerated, turning everything into scorched earth. How terrifying was the deep flame immortal king's hellfire! Those were true immortal flames. That expert who released the ancient astral tree screamed in agony. He retracted the ancient astral tree back into his body, but the destructive flames were still burning, destroying his immortal foundation. Staring at this battle, Qin Wendian felt that the situation was disadvantageous to the immortal Champion Gate. The battle situation was tilting in their favor, and in fact, there were even people dying. In such a large-scale immortal war, even immortal kings would lose their lives. Brat, your death date has arrived. The eyes of the deep flame immortal king coldly stared at Qin Wendian. Back then at the Dongshengshan Gate, Qin Wendian killed his disciple and humiliated him. Smacking his face was extremely satisfying. He, the deep flame immortal king, was a lofty existence. He had never been humiliated by a little fellow at the celestial phenomenon realm before. Although that brat had already broken through to immortal foundation, he deserved death even more. His cultivation speed was truly too fast. Deep flame, your judgment has always been very poor. Now that your disciple was killed, and Kei Tianyi, whom you had high hopes for, also died in the hands of Qin Wendian, have you turned your shame into anger? A voice drifted down from the sky. Two silhouettes descended from the air, appearing before Qin Wendian. Among these two silhouettes, one was in white and the other in black. The person who spoke was none other than the silhouette in white. This man had a handsome countenance and his long hair fluttered in the wind. The countenance of the black-robed expert was terrifyingly cold. His pitch-black eyes flickered with an intent of death and destruction. In his hand was a black-colored saber that resembled the saber of the Grim Reaper. Bai Wuya. The deep flame immortal king stared at the white-robed figure. He thought back then when the Dongxing Heaven Emperor came to this particle world to recruit disciples. At that time, he had quarreled with Bai Wuya. He had high hopes for Kei Tianyi, but Kei Tianyi was accepted as a disciple by the Eastern Sage Immortal King. He accepted Black Peak as his disciple, but he belittled Qin Wendian in all aspects. And as for Bai Wuya, he had high hopes for Qin Wendian. Right now, regardless of Kei Tianyi or Black Peak, both of them had died in the hands of Qin Wendian. Chapter 1032. Bai Wuya. In the air, the shadow of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor stared at Bai Wuya as coldness flickered in his eyes. How has my Dongshengshan Gate offended you? You actually chose to join the Immortal Champion Gate? Bai Wuya inclined his head, staring at the shadow of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor as he emotionlessly spoke. Senior Eastern Sage started a war in a particle world, causing the lives of countless people to be plunged into misery and suffering. You have cultivated to the peak of the immortal realms, yet you still chose to commit such atrocities. How disappointing. You care so much about the lives of the common people. The Dongxing Heaven Emperor coldly spoke. You, Bai Wuya, have cultivated until now, how could the number of people you killed be any less? I, Bai Wuya, only kill those I feel deserve to die. Bai Wuya calmly spoke. Back then, he killed a descendant of an immortal emperor in a fit of rage. This was precisely the White Robe Immortal King's style. If he wanted to kill someone, he wouldn't care about their identity. Humph, the Dongxing Heaven Emperor coldly snorted. He then glanced at the black-robed man beside Bai Wuya. Saber Lord of Death, do you want to oppose me as well? The black-robed man was none other than Mu Yan's master, the Saber Lord of Death who had helped Qin Wendian back then. He was the same as Bai Wuya, a disciple of the Heavenly Talisman realm. In terms of seniority, he could be considered Qin Wendian's senior apprentice brother. It's just that he naturally wouldn't acknowledge him now. The appearance of the immortal Qianbian gate seemed to have become their disguise. Most probably, others would think that they were part of the immortal Qianbian gate. The Saber Lord of Death didn't reply to the Dongxing Heaven Emperor's words. The position he stood on was his standpoint, there was no need for him to say anything more. Deep Flame, your judgment is bad and your strength is nothing much. Didn't you always want to spar with me back then? Today, I shall give you a chance. The white-robe immortal king turned his gaze over, staring at the gigantic Deep Flame in the air. I'd like to see how strong you, Bai Wuya, are. The Deep Flame immortal king similarly radiated a towering battle intent, wanting to crush the heavens. Behind him, the Devil King of Destruction from Hell radiated a destructive might that enveloped this entire space. You go and deal with the others. Leave these two to me, Bai Wuya said to the Sabersman of Death beside him. The Death Swordsman lightly nodded and replied, all right. Although the Saber Lord of Death was extremely famous, he knew very well how powerful Bai Wuya was. Bai Wuya was more than sufficient to deal with the Deep Flame Immortal King and Scarce Moon Immortal King. Even in the Heavenly Talisman realm, Bai Wuya was considered one of the more legendary immortal kings. Arrogant. The Deep Flame Immortal King tyrannically roared, his voice shaking the heavens and earth. How arrogant was Bai Wuya's words? Wanting to deal with him and the Scarce Moon Immortal King alone. Both of them were extremely famous immortal kings in the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures. The Scarce Moon Immortal King was the master of the Scarce Moon Immortal Manor while he, the Deep Flame Immortal King, was a war general under the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. In fact, when they were famous, it was still unknown where Bai Wuya was. But now, this Bai Wuya actually dared to be so arrogant. Bzz. As the sound of the Deep Flame Immortal King's voice faded, Bai Wuya's silhouette vanished as a runic figure appeared in the air. It was none other than the White-Robe Immortal King. His entire person exuded an ethereal aura. He didn't expand his size, he was still in his normal size as he instantly rushed towards the Deep Flame Immortal King. In front of the Deep Flame Immortal King's gigantic body, the White-Robe Immortal King seemed extremely tiny. The eyes of the Deep Flame Immortal King flickered with destructive hellfire. His palms grabbed downwards, instantly enveloping an entire space. This entire space was instantly engulfed in hellfire, as the howls of demons could be heard, wanting to destroy everything. Qin Wendian stared at the battlefield as he broke out in cold sweat for Bai Wuya. He could clearly feel the destructive might contained within the Deep Flame Immortal King's attacks. Bai Wuya actually fell into it. And at this moment, a blinding light radiated forth from that hellish dimension. Within that dimension, a resplendent white pathway appeared, and Bai Wuya's silhouette could be seen on it. Stepping out, he directly walked out from the dimension, exuding a carefree aura as he dashed towards the Deep Flame Immortal King's body. The Deep Flame Immortal King blasted out with his other hand, yet another pathway appeared. Bai Wuya was like a bolt of lightning as he sped towards the Deep Flame Immortal King. Movement art, a movement art infused with immortal might. Qin Wendian stared at that carefree silhouette. At this instant, the disadvantage of the Deep Flame Immortal King's gigantic physique was clearly revealed. Although his body was extremely large, his agility was still very good. But because his body was too big, the gaps between his attacks were too large. Compared to him, Bai Wuya's body was small, but his movement art was fast enough to evade the Deep Flame Immortal King's attacks and arrive before him. In that case, the one on the passive side would be the Deep Flame Immortal King. The Deep Flame Immortal King spat out a mouthful of destructive immortal might. The terrifying hellish silhouette behind him also unleashed a terrifying attack. However, Bai Wuya's speed was too fast. His movement art infused with the laws of the Great Tao, allowing him to move through the air unceasingly, nearing the Deep Flame Immortal King's body in an instant. Boom! The Deep Flame Immortal King's body rapidly shrunk. His body was simply too gigantic, and if Bai Wuya got near him, his entire body would be free to be attacked by Bai Wuya. Naturally, the Deep Flame Immortal King didn't remain idle even as his body shrunk. Boundless destructive immortal might gushed forth from him, and in an instant, the surroundings of his body transformed into a destructive light that enveloped the entire space. There was no place that could evade the destructive might radiating from him. But at this instant, within that hellish destructive might, a resplendent ancient pathway appeared. Bai Wuya's silhouette was like a phantom, opening up a path for him to walk on. Boom! A supreme might gushed forth from Bai Wuya. At the instant the deep flame immortal king's body shrunk, his body abruptly expanded to an incomparably gigantic size. The white robes he was clad in seemed to be specially made, growing larger and larger along with his body. His white robes fluttered in the wind, transforming from a suave and carefree immortal king into a tyrannical immortal king in an instant. His eyes gleamed with a dazzling light as boundless runic light radiated from him. At the instant his eyes opened, a terrifying runic light enveloped this entire space, enveloping the deep flame immortal king. This was an eye technique. In an instant, the energy flow in the deep flame immortal king's body, his blood, his bones, everything could be seen clearly. Under that eye technique, there was no way for him to hide. At this instant, the deep flame immortal king had a strange feeling. It was like he was seen through by Bai Wuya. Under that pair of eyes, there was no way for him to hide. In fact, he even felt a formless pressure pressing down on him. That pair of eyes seemed to be a grave threat to his life. Boom! Behind the white-robed immortal king, Bai Wuya, a pair of heavenly eyes appeared, radiating boundless immortal might. It was as though this was a law energy unique to him. Die! Only to see Bai Wuya roaring. From Bai Wuya to the deep flame immortal king, an immortal bridge appeared. Boundless terrifying law energy directly penetrated into the deep flame immortal king's body through that pair of terrifying eyes. At this instant, the deep flame immortal king only felt his entire body trembling as though it was about to be destroyed. He roared in rage, his body which was initially shrinking instantly halted. He lifted his palms and blasted out, wanting to destroy everything. Rumble. The heavenly eyes behind Bai Wuya seemed to be able to see through everything, containing a might that could split apart the heavens and earth. He lifted his hand and pointed out with a finger as a tyrannical law energy instantly manifested, directly destroying the destructive might of the deep flame immortal king. Kacha! A crisp sound rang out. The deep flame immortal king groaned in misery as his gigantic body trembled. This battle instantly attracted the attention of countless people. The people of this particle world stared at the battle in the air. That white-robed immortal king was so powerful, suppressing the destructive might of the deep flame immortal king with absolute superiority. But at this moment, the silhouette of a moon suddenly enveloped the white-robed immortal king. It was none other than the scarce moon immortal king. At this moment, the scarce moon immortal king who was extremely famous in the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures didn't care about face and joined forces with the deep flame immortal king to deal with Bai Wuya. Scarce moon immortal king, do you only have this little bit of strength? The white-robed immortal king inclined his head and stared at the scarce moon immortal king. The light from the heavenly eyes enveloped him and he was completely unaffected by the destructive might of the deep flame immortal king's attack. With a single step, he directly walked out from the beam of light. This scene caused the countenance of the scarce moon immortal king to turn incredibly unsightly. He was extremely famous in the immortal realms, yet he was actually being looked down upon like this. The deep flame immortal king retreated, but he only saw the white-robed immortal king, Bai Wuya, stepping out once more. That world-shaking immortal steps appeared once more, able to ignore the violent fluctuations of space. Although his body was incomparably gigantic, everyone could still feel how fast his movement technique was. The deep flame immortal king felt his body shuddering. He roared in rage, causing the entire space to tremble. His fists punched out, wanting to destroy everything, wanting to crush Bai Wuya. Such power was too terrifying, the spectators only felt that even the sky was about to be destroyed by this abyssal energy. Open! The heavenly eyes radiated boundless immortal might, forming their own laws. Bai Wuya's eyes could split apart the heavens and earth, destroying the entire hell abyss with a single glance, revealing an immortal path. Bai Wuya stepped out, wanting to force the Deep Flame Immortal King into a dead end. The countenance of the Deep Flame Immortal King turned ashen. He was a war general under the Dongxing Heaven Emperor, yet he was actually being suppressed by Bai Wuya. This was a completely one-sided battle. The waves behind will always surpass the waves before. The Emperor Qianbian sighed. Bai Wuya's strength caused him to be in awe. Also, he only rose to fame later on, while the Deep Flame Immortal King and the Scarce Moon Immortal King were both famous even before Bai Wuya's name was known by others. But now, Bai Wuya alone could easily fight against the two of them. There was no such thing as time and age in cultivation. If one was talented enough, as long as they did not die, they would be able to surpass their predecessors. The countenance of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor turned incredibly unsightly. Although Bai Wuya's fame wasn't small, he had never seen Bai Wuya's combat prowess before. Now that he saw it today, it was completely out of his expectations. A terrifying energy frenziedly circulated within the Deep Flame Immortal King's body. Gradually, the Deep Flame Immortal King felt himself losing control of his own strength. Die! Another cold voice rang out. Bai Wuya's eyes gleamed with a supreme divine light. With a piercing sound, the Deep Flame Immortal King coughed out a mouthful of blood as his countenance paled. Boom! Bai Wuya took another step forward, following closely behind. The Deep Flame Immortal King let out a deafening roar. His countenance was devoid of blood, looking extremely malevolent. Chapter 1033. The Dongxing Heaven Emperor's expression drastically changed when he saw this scene. The Deep Flame Immortal King was a war general under him and was extremely powerful. Yet, he was actually being suppressed and was even in danger of being killed. Go ahead. The Dongxing Heaven Emperor spoke. He didn't have many subordinates at the level of the Deep Flame Immortal King. He definitely couldn't allow him to die here. Yes, Your Majesty. The Deep Flame Immortal King replied, his countenance extremely ugly to behold. Fleeing in defeat, to him, the Deep Flame Immortal King, this was a humiliation. Bai Wuya frowned, his eyes seemed to want to slice apart the Deep Flame Immortal King's body. The path to immortality appeared. Bai Wuya transformed into a series of terrifying shadows as he sped towards the Deep Flame Immortal King. Rumble. A terrifying abyss appeared. The Deep Flame Immortal King stepped into it, transforming into a terrifying passageway. He wanted to vanish from this passageway. Bai Wuya's immortal might gushed forth to the extreme, enveloping the entire abyss. After which, the terrifying passageway was slashed apart. The Deep Flame Immortal King screamed unceasingly, his eyes flashed with towering flames of rage. With a wave of his hand, a spatial treasure enveloped him, wanting to bring him away. Chi! The heavenly eye behind Bai Wuya could truly split the heavens apart, locking down the spatial tempest. It directly swept over, forcefully altering the spatial law energy, causing the space around him to distort. The Deep Flame Immortal King struggled within the spatial tempest, but he had no way to leave. Bai Wuya. The Deep Flame Immortal King was filled with boundless rage. The immortal might from the White Robe Immortal King locked him down. With a single finger strike, the sound of shattering rang out unceasingly. The runic bones in his body shattered as his blood gushed out, flowing towards the particle world below. Bai Wuya, you dare to kill him? In the air, the eyes of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor flickered with killing intent. Bai Wuya actually wanted to kill the Deep Flame Immortal King. Countless people in the particle world stared at this towering battle as waves of shock rose in their hearts. They actually felt their blood boiling. This Eastern sage was cruel and emotionless, treating the lives of everyone in this world like grass. Such a person deserved to die. Everyone was praying for him to be defeated. Now that they saw the magnificence of the White Robe Immortal King, they were all filled with excitement. A strand of your immortal sense dares to threaten Bai Wuya? The Emperor Qianbian stared at the Eastern sage's shadow in the air as he coldly spoke. In addition, so what if your true body is here? In a battle between two transcendent powers, you and I cannot interfere. If your true body is here, you can only watch as the Deep Flame Immortal King dies. In the battle between the Dongshengshan Gate and the Immortal Qianbian Gate, immortal emperors wouldn't act unless it was a matter of life and death. This was the hidden rule of battles in the immortal realms. If not, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor would kill the people of the Immortal Qianbian Gate, or the Emperor Qianbian would kill the people of the Dongshengshan Gate. In the end, all of them would be wiped out, leaving behind only immortal emperors. What was the meaning of that? The Deep Flame Immortal King was still struggling. He frenziedly took out immortal weapons, but at his and Bai Wuya's level, unless it was a heaven-defying immortal weapon, it wouldn't be able to do anything. He was merely putting up a final struggle. The scarce Moon Immortal King who was behind them continued to fight. The two of them retreated too quickly, so quickly that he could only chase after them. However, he soon discovered that the situation was already irreversible. He hesitated. Should he continue to help the Deep Flame Immortal King? Bai Wuya killed the Deep Flame Immortal King, would the next one be him? Although these immortal kings were usually incomparably domineering and imposing, that was only because their statuses were high. But when faced with a life and death crisis, they would be extremely vigilant. They have lived for countless years and had lofty statuses, authority, women, they didn't lack anything. A single sentence from them could affect countless people, causing many experts to submit. Who would be willing to die for such characters? Bai Wuya's strength caused even the scarce Moon Immortal King, who was an extremely famous character, to feel trepidation in his heart. Being able to suppress the Deep Flame Immortal King, and not only that, the Deep Flame Immortal King didn't even have the strength to flee. Such a white-robed Immortal King was simply too terrifying. The white-robe Immortal King arrived before the Deep Flame Immortal King. His eyes seemed capable of splitting apart the heavens and earth as he blasted out with his palms. With a thunderous boom, the Deep Flame Immortal King let out a howl of agony as his body exploded. Blood rained down from the sky as his runic bones fell to the ground. A strand of his immortal sense wanted to flee, but it was instantly enveloped by Bai Wuya's heavenly gaze, causing him to vanish completely. Unless the Deep Flame Immortal King left a strand of his immortal sense in the surroundings, he would have completely vanished from this world. In addition, even if he left a strand of immortal sense behind, the moment it appeared, it would dissipate. In the particle world, when the blood of the Deep Flame Immortal King landed on the ground, the spectators actually felt a terrifying pressure as they evaded it unceasingly. The droplets of blood transformed into a lake of blood, containing a terrifying might that was many times stronger compared to the bloodlines of experts. Those runic bones fell from the sky, containing a fearsome might. The spectators in the particle world were all fleeing madly. They knew that the bones of immortals were all treasures and wanted to snatch them away. Every part of the Deep Flame Immortal King's body was a supreme treasure to the people of this particle world. He really died. Many immortal kings in the battlefield felt their hearts trembling. The Deep Flame Immortal King, a powerful immortal king war general under the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor, had fallen. If it was an ordinary immortal king dying, it would be very normal and they wouldn't be too shocked. But this was the death of the Deep Flame Immortal King. The Deep Flame Immortal King was domineeringly killed by Bai Wuya. In that case, which immortal king here would be able to contend against Bai Wuya? An absolute expert would be able to influence the entire situation of an immortal war. Bai Wuya abruptly turned and stepped out, dashing towards the scarce Moon Immortal King. At this instant, the eyes of the scarce Moon Immortal King twitched. Under the shocked gazes of the spectators below, the scarce Moon Immortal King actually didn't choose to fight. He chose to turn and flee instead, soaring through the air. Bastard! The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor's countenance turned ashen. An immortal king who had been famous for countless years actually chose to flee from Bai Wuya. However, to the scarce Moon Immortal King, it was understandable. His strength was definitely not stronger than the Deep Flame Immortal King, but the Deep Flame Immortal King didn't even have the ability to flee in front of Bai Wuya. Bai Wuya didn't chase after him. He instantly entered the battlefield. The situation of the Immortal Qianbian Gate wasn't optimistic at all. The Saber Lord of Death's participation slightly alleviated the pressure on the Immortal Qianbian Gate. After all, the the Saber Lord of Death was someone from the Heavenly Talisman realm. Although he wasn't as outstanding as Bai Wuya, his combat prowess was still extremely high when compared to ordinary immortal kings. The saber in his hand was like the saber of the Grim Reaper, extremely dangerous. But even so, many immortal kings of the Immortal Qianbian Gate were injured. 2 immortal kings died. This caused the hearts of Qin Wendian and Lin Xian to tremble violently. This immortal war was too terrifying, even immortal kings died. Even someone as powerful as the Deep Flame Immortal King died in this battle. Bai Wuya entered the battlefield. His immortal might gushed forth as his heavenly eye instantly enveloped an immortal king. That immortal king instantly felt his body being locked down as a mysterious energy invaded his body. The white robe immortal king transformed into a phantom, stepping out step by step. Everyone only saw many white afterimages appearing in the air. Very swiftly, yet another immortal king died, a shocking sight to behold. Dongsheng Heaven Emperor's countenance grew increasingly unsightly. Although on the surface, the combat prowess of the Dongshengshan Gate was still superior, Bai Wuya alone could overturn the entire situation. There was no one here who could block Bai Wuya. Retreat. Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was also an extremely decisive character. The moment he saw that he had no way to kill these people of the Immortal Qianbian Gate, he instantly gave the order to retreat. All the immortal kings soared up into the air and flew away. Bai Wuya didn't chase after them. No matter how strong he was, it was impossible for him to fight against so many immortal kings alone. Very swiftly, the immortal kings of the Dongshengshan Gate all retreated into the air. Their countenances were cold as they stared downwards. After that, all of them transformed into beams of light and sped away. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor's shadow was still there, coldly staring at Bai Wuya. The situation of this battle actually changed because of a single person, Bai Wuya. Eastern Sage, seems like your preparations are insufficient. The Emperor Qianbian coldly mocked. Humph, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly snorted. He stared at Bai Wuya. For this battle, just consider it my carelessness. Next time, your immortal Qianbian Gate won't be so lucky to retreat unscathed. Luck? The Emperor Qianbian coldly laughed. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor's shadow gradually turned illusory before vanishing completely. The pressure in the sky finally vanished. The people of the particle world all stood up straight and heaved a sigh of relief. Everything had ended. They felt as though they had just narrowly escaped death. Many places in the surroundings suffered calamities and many people even managed to escape death. The aftershocks of the immortal battle blasted into the particle world, directly razing it to the ground. In this immortal battle, although a few immortal kings died, the casualties of the people of the particle world were simply too many. Luckily, the cruel Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was forced into retreat. They would forever remember the name of this tyrant. If there was a day when they could reach that level, they would definitely take revenge for him. On the contrary, the name of the white-robed immortal king, Bai Wuya, was engraved in everyone's minds. His magnificence throughout the generations was something that the entire world would never forget. This immortal battle was like a baptism to the people of this particle world. It allowed them to have a clearer view of this world, and their thirst for strength grew even stronger. The Star River Association allied with the Dongshengshan Gate to plot against us. Uproot all the Star River Association in this particle world. The Emperor Qianbian coldly commanded. A moment later, several immortal kings flew towards this particle world. Not long after, they returned. The Star River Association had vanished from this particle world. Wentian, follow me back to the immortal realms. For now, don't come into contact with this particle world. Regardless of the Dongshengshan Gate or the Star River Association, this particle world is just a country bumpkin. They wouldn't care too much about it. This time around, they only wanted to target you and the immortal Qianbian Gate. Since you have severed your connection with this particle world, they naturally wouldn't bother with this place anymore. The Emperor Qianbian spoke. Micham, let's go. Qin Wentian nodded. Let's return. The Emperor Qianbian commanded. A moment later, everyone returned. Bai Wuya walked to the side of Qin Wendian and brought Qin Wendian away. Qin Wendian stood in the air and cast a glance at this world with reluctance. After that, he turned his head back and stared at the starry space as his expression grew even more resolute. From now onwards, he would forget about the past and conquer the immortal realms. Chapter 1034. They left. The countless people in the particle world inclined their heads and stared at the sky. The experts from the immortal realms had all left, vanishing from their particle world. However, they left behind an unforgettable memory for them. Naturally, this time around, the particle world also suffered an unbearable calamity. But for those who survived, they would eventually become even stronger. Because, they had personally witnessed that immortal war. Almost all stellar martial cultivators here had a seed of hope planted in their hearts, wanting to grow stronger. Immortal realms, immortals. Dongxing Heaven Emperor, White Robe Immortal King, Emperor Qianbian and also, Qin Wendian. The names of these people would never be forgotten by them. Dongxing Heaven Emperor was lofty and lofty. With a single thought, he changed the battlefield to a particle world, almost destroying it. This was what immortal emperors were like, they viewed the people of the world as ants. Luckily, this battle didn't last for too long. The Dongshengshan Gate was defeated and fled. Qin Wendian, I hope that one day, you will be able to kill the Dongxing Heaven Emperor and avenge this blood debt. Countless people in this particle world had such a thought in their hearts. Regardless of Eastern Sage, Emperor Qianbian, or even the White Robe Immortal King, they all felt that the distance between them and Qin Wendian was too far. Only Qin Wendian was a legendary character that originated from their particle world. Right now, even in the immortal realms, he had a place of his own and was even protected by immortal emperor-ranked powers. In the past, they didn't even dare to imagine this. The sky was the same as before. The name Qin Wendian would become a legend in the history of this particle world. It would accompany them for many years to come. It was unknown if in the future when they stepped on the immortal path, would they still have the chance to hear his name in the immortal realms? Cloud Prefecture, Immortal Qianbian Gate. Qin Wendian and the others had returned. In the Great Hall of the Immortal Qianbian Gate, the Emperor Qianbian was actually there. His immortal sense had already vanished. He stood up and when he saw Bai Wuya and Qin Wendian entering, he spoke to Bai Wuya, Bai Wuya, you have worked hard this time around. Your Majesty, you're being too polite. Bai Wuya's expression was calm as he regained his carefree demeanor. He exuded a transcendent aura, completely unlike the Supreme Immortal King who killed the Deep Flame Immortal King in the particle world. If it wasn't for you this time, the Immortal Qianbian Gate would have suffered heavy losses and would have lost everything. This is not a lie. Emperor Qianbian politely spoke. Bai Wuya, work hard in your cultivation. If you become an immortal emperor, you would have a chance to become a peak stage immortal emperor in the immortal realms, surpassing me and Eastern Sage. The Emperor Qianbian could be considered a senior to Bai Wuya. But even so, he was so polite to Bai Wuya. From this, one could see that he was extremely respectful towards Bai Wuya. In addition, Bai Wuya truly had great potential. Qin Wendian quietly listened at the side. The relationship between the two of them was somewhat strange. The White Robe Immortal King Bai Wuya wasn't under the control of the Emperor Qianbian. He was a disciple of the Heavenly Talisman realm and his relationship with the Emperor Qianbian should be similar. If the Emperor Qianbian wanted to gain control of the 6 prefectures, it was impossible for him to do so with his strength alone. He needed to borrow the strength of the Heavenly Talisman realm. Maybe, there was some sort of cooperation between the Heavenly Talisman realm and the Emperor Qianbian. The Dongshengshan Gate has already been retreated. Most probably, they wouldn't attack the Immortal Qianbian Gate within a short period of time. Emperor Lord, Bai Wuya will bid his farewell here. Bai Wuya directly spoke. The Emperor Qianbian didn't try to persuade him. He nodded, okay, you can leave now. Bai Wuya clasped his hands to the Emperor Qianbian. After that, he glanced at Qin Wendian before exiting the Great Hall. Everyone, in the future when you go out, you have to be more cautious. Also, the defenses of the prefectures have to be tightened. Our intelligence network should cover the 13 prefectures and we have to be prepared for any sudden battles. The Emperor Qianbian spoke to the returning immortals. It has been tough on all of you. A month later, I will give a lecture on the Tao for 3 days. If any of you have any questions regarding cultivation, feel free to ask me. Many thanks to the Emperor Lord. Your subordinates will take their leave. The immortal kings bowed and left the great hall. Wentian, you stay behind. The Emperor Qianbian spoke to Qin Wentian. After that, only the Emperor Qianbian and Qin Wentian remained in the great hall. The person you asked me to investigate, when my immortal sense enveloped the particle world, I didn't discover her existence. If she is still alive, she should have already left the particle world. The Emperor Qianbian stared at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian furrowed his brows. Seems like this little lass by Qing either died or she was no longer in the particle world. However, the Emperor Qianbian continued, I discovered that there's something strange about one of the locations. It should be the devil statue cliff you were talking about. What's strange about it? Qin Wentian's expression froze as he felt a little nervous in his heart. In the devil statue cliff, I seem to have discovered some extremely high-grade ancient sacrificial altars. Such altars are extremely rare even in the immortal realms. The Emperor Qianbian spoke, his words causing sharpness to flash through Qin Wentian's eyes. He then asked, what kind of ancient sacrificial altar is this? What use does it have? The traces have already been erased, it's not very clear. According to my deduction, there's a high possibility that it's an inheritance altar of a powerful clan. In the immortal realms, there are many ancient powers with extremely deep foundations. For example, the Namhuang clan of the south, the Baiming clan of the north, the myriad devil islands of the immortal realms. These powers all have mysterious abilities that can't be predicted using logic. But even so, we can't deny their existence. If the friend you are looking for really appeared in the devil statue cliff, I'm guessing that she might have had a miraculous encounter. The Emperor Qianbian's words caused Qin Wentian's heart to pound. Little lass by Qing, did she really have a miraculous encounter? Qin Wentian drew in a deep breath as he thought back to that innocent young girl in black. In Qin Wentian's heart, Bai Qing would forever be a young girl. He could only hope that little lass Bai Qing was fine. Next, it's time to talk about your matters. You've already seen the killing intent the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor has towards you. Most probably, he hates you to the bone. Do you have any thoughts on this? The Emperor Qianbian stared at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed with coldness. He naturally knew the hatred the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor had for him. Right now, the Dongshengshan Gate had already listed him in their kill list. Wasn't it the same for him as well? He really wanted the life of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, but given his current strength, it was basically impossible for him to contend against the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. If he was targeted by the entire Dongshengshan Gate, it would be extremely hard for him to roam freely in the 13 prefectures. Senior, do you have any thoughts on this? Qin Wentian asked. You've already been to the city of ancient emperors and know how vast the world is. There are many geniuses there, and I heard that your relationship with the daughter of the evergreen immortal emperor, Princess Qing, isn't shallow. If you want to win over the daughter of the evergreen immortal emperor, the difficulty would be extremely high. The Emperor Qianbian laughed. I suggest you go out and temper yourself, venturing into the vast immortal realms and continuously raise your strength. As for the battle between the immortal Qianbian Gate and the Dongshengshan Gate, it's best that you don't interfere for now. Qin Wentian was silent for a moment before he nodded his head lightly. I will seriously consider the Emperor Lord's words. Micham, good. You can go as well. If there's anything you need, feel free to look for me. The Emperor Lord spoke. Qin Wentian nodded and departed the Great Hall. After exiting the Great Hall, Qin Wentian's silhouette flickered as he found the members of the Battle Sword sect in the immortal Qianbian Gate. They were arranged to stay in a building with an extremely good environment. Upon seeing Qin Wentian in the air, numerous silhouettes soared up into the air and appeared before Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian! Wentian! Everyone called out, staring at Qin Wentian with a strange look in their eyes. Only now did they truly understand the amount of power Qin Wentian had in the immortal realms. This place was the immortal Qianbian Gate, a power governed by the Emperor Qianbian. It was rumored that Qin Wentian had entered the tutelage of the Emperor Qianbian, and the Emperor Qianbian regarded Qin Wentian with great importance. One could say that the current Qin Wentian already had a certain status in the immortal realms. How's the situation in the particle world? Is father still doing well? Yi Lingshuang walked up and asked. I've already brought foster father and the others over. You guys wait here for a while. Qin Wentian spoke. After that, he soared up into the air and took out the 9 immortality bells. Channeling his will into the ancient bells, the ancient city appeared. Qin Wentian tilted the ancient city as numerous figures walked out. When everyone came down, Qin Wentian kept the ancient Drifts Now city. Father! Yi Lingshuang called out when she saw Yi Qingyun. Lingshuang! Yi Qingyun saw the people from the Battle Sword sect. Qin Wentian had brought everyone to a certain location. Foster father, I initially wanted to temporarily leave everyone in the particle world. However, the war that occurred after that far exceeded my expectations. Regardless of the Dongshengshan Gate or the Star River Association, both places are extremely dangerous. I made the decision to bring everyone back to the immortal realms first. I will order my men to bring foster father back to the particle world and bring your family over. Before this, during the particle world war, he didn't know if the Dongxing Heaven Emperor would hold back or not. Hence, he decisively severed his connection with the particle world. This way, no one would care about the others in the particle world. Wentian, where is this place? The medicine sovereign, Fairy Qingmei and the others asked. This place is the immortal Qianbian Gate. Everyone can stay here in the future. With Senior Emperor Lord around, there's no need to worry about your safety. Qin Wentian spoke. Actually, he cared too much about them. Although the Dongxing Heaven Emperor hated him, the people of this particle world were merely minor characters to the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. He wouldn't care about them at all. Everyone must have been frightened. Let me host a welcoming dinner for all of you. Qin Wentian smiled as he walked to the side of Mo Qingcheng. Upon seeing the two of them, everyone laughed. You and Qingcheng can finally be together. It's time to celebrate. Next, Qin Wentian organized a grand immortal banquet at the Dongshengshan Gate. All the family and friends from the particle world gathered together. Everyone was extremely happy. Everything had ended. Although they were in a foreign place, this place was the immortal realms. Everything had a new beginning. Fatty Fan Lu was drunk. His eyes narrowed into slits as he stared at those beautiful serving girls. Ouyang Guangxing stared at those guards. They were all immortals, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in his heart. Fairy Qingmei initially didn't want to leave this particle world. But now that she saw the delicacies and wine at the banquet, she faintly felt that it was time for her to live a new life for herself. Qin Chuan was very happy. He was drunk as well. When he saw Qin Wentian's current accomplishments in the immortal realms, he couldn't help but feel proud of this son of his. Yun Mengyi, Lin Xian'er, Bai Lu Yi, and the others stared at Qin Wentian, who was sitting together with Mo Qingcheng. This place was the immortal realms. Qin Wentian smiled as he looked at everyone, accompanying them to drink to their heart's content. Today, he had also drunk a lot. Chapter 1035. Several months later, everyone settled down in the immortal Qianbian Gate. An emperor-ranked sect occupied an area as vast as a city, able to house 1 million troops. Qin Wentian's family and friends all stayed in Qin Wentian's courtyard. But during these few months, there were also people who left to roam the immortal sections. Although they were moved by how powerful the immortal sects were and how capable Qin Wentian was, they still wanted to grow stronger and experience the vastness of the immortal realms for themselves. Qin Wentian didn't stop them. This was the immortal realms. If they continued to rely on him to protect them in the immortal Qianbian Gate, although their lives would be much safer, it would be much less exciting. The immortal realms were boundlessly vast. Even for him, Qin Wentian, he had only reached a corner of it. The entire Eastern Sage 13 prefectures was merely a small region. Today, on Qin Wentian's cultivation platform, a treasured cauldron sat there. Qin Wentian held onto Mo Qingqing's hand. Is it really so dangerous? Mo Qingqing stared at Qin Wentian as she asked. This cauldron contains the sacred luminance, a legendary supreme treasure. When stellar martial cultivators bathe in the sacred luminance, they would be reborn anew. However, without a strong physique, there's basically no way for them to withstand the might of the sacred luminance. I have a friend who has extraordinary talent and a strong physique. But back then when he bathed in the sacred luminance, he relied on his incomparably firm will to endure it. Qingqing, you won't be able to endure it now. Hence, I'll let you cultivate in body refinement arts first. Qin Wentian spoke to Mo Qingqing. Okay, I'll listen to you. Mo Qingqing nodded lightly. Qin Wentian caressed Mo Qingqing's face. Little rascal inclined its head in satisfaction. This little fellow and Purgatory had both experienced the baptism of the sacred luminance before. Let's go out. Qin Wentian said in a low voice. With a wave of his hand, he kept the cauldron. Both the cauldron and the sacred luminance were supreme treasures. In the future, when he became stronger, he could use the sacred luminance to create a batch of top-notch characters. Now was not the time yet. His own strength was still a little weak, and it would be a good thing if the sacred luminance was exposed. Qin Wentian returned to the courtyard where Luo Huan and Qin Yao were waiting for him. Upon seeing Qin Wentian walking over, Luo Huan giggled, what a pair of lovers, sticking together every day. Elder sister and senior sister have been abandoned. Sister Luo Huan, stop teasing him. Qin Yao smiled, Wentian, the teachers you found for us are really not bad. I've improved a lot during these few days, and with the help of the immortal sect's cultivation resources, I feel as though I've been reborn. Father and uncle have also improved at godly speeds. Elder sister, that's an immortal king expert we are talking about. I've thickened my skin to seek guidance from him. As for the cultivation resources, I don't really care about it. Your cultivation bases are still weak, it's very easy to remodel them. Qin Wentian smiled. After all, the talent of Qin Yao and the others could be considered ordinary. It was extremely easy to use the immortal realm's cultivation resources to remodel them. But precisely because they were weak, there was a lot of room for improvement. But if they wanted to raise their cultivation bases to a very high level in a short period of time, it was impossible. I know you are awesome. Qin Yao smiled. During these few days, you have been secretly helping Qingqing with her homework. Did you give her special treatment? Elder sister, don't wrongly accuse me. I'm definitely not biased. Qingqing's current cultivation base is slightly higher than you guys, and her cultivation method is different from yours. But whatever Qingqing has, I will give it to you guys sooner or later. Qin Wentian shrugged. I know you are good. Qin Yao smiled. She and Luo Huan were naturally just joking around with Qin Wentian. Are you used to this place? Qin Wentian asked. Not bad, the environment here is much better. It's just that I still feel like going out for a walk occasionally. Qin Yao replied. The immortal Qianbian Gate is currently planning to transform this cloud prefecture city into an impregnable fortress. No one would be able to invade it. When the time is right, we can go out for a walk whenever we want. Qin Wentian smiled. Just this cloud prefecture city alone was larger than the entire particle world. Given the cultivation bases of Qin Yao and Luo Huan, they wouldn't be able to leave even if they wanted to. Qin Wentian also knew that in the immortal realms, the capital cities of many peak powers had absolute authority. Once external powers entered, they would be notified. The vast majority of the capital cities were the subordinates of these peak powers. They were truly gigantic existences. It was just that right now, the foundation of the immortal Qianbian Gate was still far from enough. The Cloud Prefecture city was extremely complicated, the immortal Qianbian Gate still had no way to gain absolute control. This would require a very long period of time. Senior brother. At this moment, a clear voice drifted over from outside. An expression of joy flashed on Qin Wentian's face when he heard this voice as a smile flickered on his face. Mengchen, come over here. Qin Wendian spoke. Very swiftly, a delicate and handsome silhouette appeared before Qin Wendian in the blink of an eye. You've exited seclusion, not bad. Qin Wendian smiled as he stared at Jun Mengchen. His aura had changed as well, exuding an extraordinary aura. Senior brother, you exited earlier than me. Jun Mengchen scratched his head and smiled. Qin Wendian wasn't surprised. Jun Mengchen's talent was outstanding and back then, he had shocked the entire Dongshengshan Gate. Back then, both of them experienced the baptism of the sacred luminance and their cultivation bases had already reached the peak of celestial phenomenon. But the process of establishing an immortal foundation was much more complicated because of the uniqueness of his immortal foundation. There's no difference even if I exited earlier. Qin Wendian laughed. I heard senior brother return to your hometown particle world. Are these all sisters-in-law? Jun Mengchen laughed. The three before him were all great beauties, especially Mo Qingcheng. Her aura was like that of a celestial maiden and was extremely compatible with his senior brother. She actually didn't lose out to Princess Qing, at all. Senior brother Qin was truly awesome. Stop talking nonsense. Qin Wendian glared at Jun Mengchen. This is your sister-in-law Mo Qingcheng, this is my senior sister Luo Huan and my elder sister Qin Yao. This fellow is my junior brother Jun Mengchen. Hello sister-in-law, hello sister Luo Huan, hello sister Qin Yao. Jun Mengchen politely greeted them one by one. Although he had already entered the immortal path, he was still like a big boy. Little brother, be good. Luo Huan walked to the side of Jun Mengchen and gently rubbed Jun Mengchen's head. Jun Mengchen instantly had a face filled with black lines. Sister Luo Huan, this. Jun Mengchen felt like he was about to collapse. Was she teasing a little kid? Why? I also treat Wendian the same way. You are his junior brother, there's no difference. Luo Huan giggled. Jun Mengchen stared pleadingly at Qin Wendian. Qin Wendian smiled back at him, pretending that he didn't see anything. Senior brother Qin, before I came here, the Emperor Lord asked me to pass a message to him. He wants us to make a trip to his place. Jun Mengchen hurriedly spoke. Emperor Lord? Qin Wendian's eyes flashed. Jun Mengchen nodded his head. Okay, we will head over now. Qin Wendian spoke. Luo Huan also didn't make things difficult for Jun Mengchen and allowed the two of them to leave. Qin Wendian and Jun Mengchen arrived at the palace where the Emperor Lord Qianbian resided. However, the Emperor Lord Qianbian wasn't there. Instead, an immortal king character from the immortal Qianbian Gate, the Taishan Immortal King, was there. The Taishan Immortal King had a very close relationship with the Emperor Lord Qianbian. He would often accompany the Emperor Lord Qianbian for many years. Senior. Qin Wendian called out. Wendian, there's a guest who sent over an invitation card for you. The Taishan Immortal King spoke. After that, he waved his hand as an invitation card floated in the air towards Qin Wendian. Qin Wendian stretched out his hand and received it. After glancing at it, he smiled. Namhuang Yunxi has also succeeded in establishing her immortal foundation and stepped into the immortal foundation realm. Nan Feng was ranked number 3 on the immortal ascension rankings a long time ago, it's very normal for her to break through to immortal foundation. Jun Mengchen continued, this invitation card was sent over by Namhuang Yunxi. Namhuang Yunxi has broken through to immortal foundation and the Namhuang clan wants to hold an immortal banquet for her. However, why would they spend so much effort to send this invitation card over from thousands of miles away? The immortal Qianbian Gate is inviting me over. Qin Wendian felt somewhat puzzled. He turned his gaze to the Taishan Immortal King. Won't you know when you go? The Taishan Immortal King smiled. That's right. Maybe Nam Huang Yunshi has taken a liking to you and wants to use this opportunity to introduce you to the people of the Nam Huang clan. Jun Mengchen joked. Qin Wendian rolled his eyes. He felt that there was no need for Nam Huang Yunshi to do such a thing. Maybe there were other reasons. Senior, do you also feel that I should go? Qin Wendian asked the Taishan Immortal King. Nam Huang Yunshi is a descendant of the Southern Phoenix matriarch, one of the candidates to become the next leader of the Nam Huang clan. She should have many competitors as well. More importantly, the Southern Phoenix Immortal City where the Nam Huang clan is located is a city completely controlled by the Nam Huang clan. The rules are set by the Nam Huang clan and it's extremely safe. As long as immortal kings enter the city, they would immediately be targeted. You can go there to experience the majesty of the true immortal realms. The Taishan Immortal King smiled. Okay. In that case, I will go with Meng Chen to experience the majesty of the Southern Phoenix Immortal City. Qin Wendian nodded. He just so happened to want to go out and temper himself. Since the Taishan Immortal King agreed, it should be a good choice. Emichim, you guys go and make your preparations. The Immortal Qianbian Gate has already constructed a teleportation array that leads directly to the Southern Phoenix Immortal City. The Taishan Immortal King spoke. Qin Wendian and Jun Mengchen returned together. After that, Qin Wendian instructed some matters before bidding farewell to Mo Qingcheng and the others. Chapter 1036. In the southern regions of the Immortal Realms, the Nam Huang clan was an extremely ancient power that had existed for countless years. The Nam Huang clan had the noble bloodline of the Phoenix. Only females could become the supreme leader of the Nam Huang clan, the Southern Phoenix matriarch. The foundations of the Nam Huang clan far surpassed the foundations of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor and the Thousand Transformations Immortal Emperor. They were one of the ancient sacred grounds of the Immortal Realms and had an extremely strong influence in the vast southern regions. Although they didn't directly govern the southern regions, the power of the Nam Huang clan could cover the entire southern regions. Every action of the Nam Huang clan could cause the entire region to tremble. The Southern Phoenix Immortal City was where the Nam Huang clan was located. This place was directly governed by the Nam Huang clan and could be said to be the headquarters of the Nam Huang clan. With regards to the Southern Phoenix Immortal City, the Nam Huang clan had absolute control over it. The Nam Huang clan's businesses could be found all over the city and the army of the Nam Huang clan was in charge of the rules of the city. This immortal city was one of the safest cities in the entire Immortal Realms. The teleportation arrays in the Southern Phoenix Immortal City were heavily guarded. More and more teleportation arrays flashed with dazzling spatial lights as people appeared. There were only two types of people who could use the teleportation arrays. The first type was those with extraordinary statuses and could use the teleportation arrays of the major powers. The second type was the wealthy and powerful wuxiu who paid a huge price to use the teleportation arrays of the major powers. At this moment, another teleportation array lit up. The spatial fluctuations were extremely intense, causing many guards to turn their attention over. The strength of spatial energy represented the distance between the teleportation arrays. From the looks of it, this teleportation array should be from an extremely faraway place. A bright light flashed as two handsome young men appeared. They glanced at their surroundings before stepping out. Where are the two of you from? A guard walked up to check. Qin Wendian waved his hand as the invitation card floated towards the guard. The guard glanced at the insignia on the card as his eyes flashed. After that, he bowed, "Young Lord Qin, please enter the city. I heard that the Southern Phoenix Immortal City has some rules. Can you tell me about them?" Qin Wendian asked. There are indeed some rules. In the Southern Phoenix Immortal City, no one is allowed to kill the innocent, bully the weak, rob or steal. The Southern Phoenix Army will not interfere in small conflicts, but if it involves heavily injuring an opponent or destroying the wealth of the innocent, these are not allowed. Killing is also prohibited. Unless both parties are willing to step onto the Southern Phoenix arena, only then can they engage in a life and death battle. The guard explained, there are no other rules. Since young Master Qin is the Saintess's girlfriend, you can ask the Saintess for help if you encounter any trouble. Alright, thank you. Qin Wendian smiled and nodded. After that, he and Jun Mengchen entered the Southern Phoenix Immortal City together. This immortal city was ancient and majestic. The density of the buildings was moderate, and all sorts of industries were flourishing. Experts were as common as the clouds, and with a single glance, Immortal Foundation characters could be seen everywhere. They are saints' girlfriends. Which saint is it? What's the identity of this person? The other guards curiously asked after Qin Wendian left. Holy Maiden Yun Shi, she invited him to participate in the immortal banquet. Seems like their relationship is very good. As for his name, I've never heard of it before. His name is Qin Wendian. There doesn't seem to be any great emperors in the immortal realms with the surname Qin, the guard replied in a low voice. It's actually Holy Maiden Yun Shi. This fellow's luck with women isn't bad. Holy Maiden Yun Shi not only has outstanding talent, she's also a supreme beauty. The guard at the side smiled. All of you shut up. Someone at the side cursed in a low voice. Yes, Captain. The guards all smiled, but they didn't continue speaking. Qin Wendian and Jun Mengchen walked through the Southern Phoenix Immortal City. As they stared at the ancient-looking buildings and palaces, they faintly understood why the rules of the Southern Phoenix Immortal City were so strict. The industries in the Southern Phoenix Immortal City are truly developed. With a single glance, I can see that immortal-ranked weapons and immortal-ranked cultivation arts are all over the place. How many treasures would there be in this city? Most probably, as long as you have enough wealth, you wouldn't need to worry about lacking treasures. Jun Mengchen sighed. This has always been relative. For stellar martial cultivators, it's easier for them to obtain wealth and treasures. For weaker stellar martial cultivators, they can only depend on others or take risks. The reason why the Southern Phoenix Immortal City is so prosperous is naturally because of the strict rules. For stellar martial cultivators who enter here, there's no need to worry about their safety. Qin Wendian understood the law of the jungle in the immortal realms. If you were weak, even if you had treasures on you, you wouldn't dare to take them out to trade. The Southern Phoenix Immortal City would naturally provide you with protection. As expected of an ancient and powerful clan. For those with powerful backgrounds in the immortal realms, they would definitely be willing to stay in such an immortal city. They would be able to ensure the safety of their family members and they can roam the world with peace of mind. Jun Mengchen spoke. You are right. But given how many people there are in the immortal realms, who wouldn't want to stay in such an immortal city? I'm afraid it wouldn't be so simple if one wanted to own a piece of land in the Southern Phoenix Immortal City. Didn't you hear what the guard said? The buildings here are not allowed to be destroyed. All of them are considered private property. Qin Wendian laughed. The Namhuang clan built the Southern Phoenix Immortal City to such a flourishing state. The value of this city is something that you and I can't imagine. What's that? Jun Mengchen pointed ahead. There, the shadow of a phoenix could be seen shining resplendently in the air. Let's go take a look. Their silhouettes flickered as they headed towards the source of the light. Not long after, they arrived there and saw the projection of the phoenix enveloping the entire space. Two silhouettes were currently engaged in a fierce battle. Phoenix Arena. Qin Wendian and Jun Mengchen spoke at the same time. They instantly understood that this was the Phoenix Arena that the guards spoke of. Only when both parties were willing to step onto the Phoenix Arena would they be able to engage in a life-and-death battle. There must be some wuxiu who had deep grievances between them and they needed a place to vent their anger. Let's go. After a few moments, the victor of the battle between the two was decided. One was killed and the two of them stepped onto the Phoenix Arena. Both of them had deep grudges against each other, how could they show mercy? Qin Wendian and Jun Mengchen checked the direction and used immortal-ranked weapons to speed towards the direction of the Namhuang clan. However, they still took a long time before they arrived at the outer perimeter of the Nam Huang clan. From afar, there was an incomparably majestic ancient phoenix that was extremely vivid and lifelike. It seemed as though it wanted to soar into the sky with the wind. This ancient phoenix was incomparably gigantic, towering over the heavens and earth. It was the exterior of the entire Nam Huang clan, exuding a tyrannical aura. Senior Marshal Brother, should we go in and look for Nam Huang Yunshi now? Jun Mengchen asked. There's no rush, it's fine as long as we find the place. 2 days later is the day of Nam Huang Yunshi's immortal banquet. We'll go look for Nam Huang Yunshi 2 days later and directly attend the banquet. If we go in now, should we let Nam Huang Yunshi accompany us to stroll around the immortal city? Qin Wendian smiled and shook his head. Jun Mengchen smiled and said foolishly, such a big beauty, only Senior Marshal Brother can remain unmoved. But that's understandable, both sisters-in-law are beauties that can cause the downfall of cities and empires. They are not inferior to Nam Huang Yunshi at all. Why? Do you have feelings for Nam Huang Yunshi? Qin Wendian smiled and said. Don't say that I don't have any feelings for her. Even if I do, Nam Huang Yunshi has no interest in me. After all, only your name is on the invitation card. Jun Mengchen spoke. Oh yeah, Senior Marshal Brother, you asked little rascal to stay behind to accompany sisters-in-law. Where's Purgatory? Why don't I see her? Purgatory and I are originally one. If you want to see her, I'll let you take a look. Qin Wendian laughed. His bloodline surged as a blood-colored light flashed as the silhouette of Purgatory appeared, transforming into a devilish beauty. Purgatory is actually a female and she's so beautiful. Senior, I'm impressed. Jun Mengchen laughed, feeling somewhat jealous of this Senior Marshal Brother of his. Beauties were as common as the clouds around him. At this moment, whistling sounds rang out as 4 silhouettes flew over. The person in the lead was a young man with eyes as deep as the abyss. His gaze landed on Purgatory as a dazzling light flickered in his eyes. Fairy, are you a vermilion bird? The young man asked. Purgatory frowned as a cold intent radiated from her. What's the matter? Qin Wendian faintly asked. Sir, what's your relationship with her? The young man glanced at Qin Wendian as he asked. My companion. Qin Wendian replied. A companion demonic beast? You should have subdued it, right? That young man laughed. In the immortal realms, there were some people with extraordinary luck who managed to subdue powerful demonic beasts when they were still young. Such situations were very common. He's my master, but what does that have to do with you? Purgatory stared at the young man as she asked. As expected of a Purgatory vermilion bird. What a fiery temper and such a beauty. The young man laughed. Sir, your luck is truly good. Can you trade this demonic beast with me? What price do you want? No need, please do as you please. Qin Wendian frowned, his tone filled with unhappiness. How could he use Purgatory to trade with others? This demonic beast is extremely useful to me. Brother, why don't you name a higher price? The young man continued, his eyes blazing with heat. Such a beautiful Purgatory vermilion bird was extremely rare. If he could tame it, it would be a wondrous thing. You don't understand human speech? Jun Mengchen impolitely spoke. This person made him loathe Purgatory vermilion bird. But at this moment, one of the people behind the young man stepped out as a powerful aura enveloped Qin Wendian and the others. This person was none other than an extremely powerful expert. Are you all preparing to trample on the rules of the Southern Phoenix Immortal City? Qin Wendian laughed. Rules are dead, humans are alive. Let me give you a word of advice, be tactful. This young master is a guest of the Nam Huang clan. Even if we don't act now, it wouldn't be difficult for us to act against you in the future. Another person beside the young man had a cold expression on his face as he threatened. Chapter 1037. The young man waved his hand, stopping his subordinate as he berated, Shut up, the Nam Huang clan has its own rules and standards. How can we violate them? This is the foundation of the Namhuang clan's rule over the southern Phoenix Immortal City. Yes. That subordinate bowed and no longer spoke. The young man then smiled at Qin Wentian. I am Rong Shao of the Rong clan. I truly like this purgatory vermilion bird. Since she called you her master, we can naturally exchange for her. Brother, why don't you give me some face? I won't let you suffer a loss and we can all be friends in the future. Although this young man was polite, Qin Wentian and Jun Mengchen felt awkward no matter how they listened. Was he trying to show his extraordinary status by introducing himself? So it's Rong Shao of the Rong clan. Qin Wentian was enlightened. The young man smiled and inclined his head. Sorry, I've never heard of you before. Qin Wentian continued, causing Rong Xiao's smile to stiffen. Qin Wentian, was he joking with him? Also, my senior brother is also a guest of the Namhuang clan. Don't think too highly of yourself. Scram now. Jun Mengchen's temper was still as irritable as ever. He couldn't stand the pretentiousness of this young man as he coldly spoke. Qin Wentian silently agreed to his words. He merely smiled coldly at the young man before him and couldn't be bothered to reply. Using purgatory for a transaction, even if it was just a discussion, was an insult to purgatory. The young man frowned as he glanced at Qin Wentian. His temper was actually very good, he didn't get angry even after being scolded to scram. So brother Qin was also invited here. I, Rong, have been rude. In that case, farewell. Rong Shao indifferently spoke. After that, he turned around and left with his men. How arrogant. Jun Mengchen unhappily spoke. Qin Wentian turned his gaze onto Purgatory, only to see her expression turning cold. He walked over and patted Purgatory's shoulder. Purgatory, in the future, just call me Big Brother Qin. Don't call me Master anymore. If you don't listen, I won't let you follow me anymore. Purgatory looked at Qin Wentian with an aggrieved expression. Her seductive eyes were exceptionally alluring, causing Qin Wentian to feel a little reluctant to be so strict. However, since this lass refused to listen to his advice, he could only use force. Yes, master. Purgatory said pitifully. Why are you still shouting? Qin Wentian said with a straight face. Purgatory raised her head, curling her lips as she called out, Big Brother Qin. That's a good boy. Qin Wentian's expression softened as he rubbed Purgatory's head. This caused Purgatory to giggle foolishly at him, exuding hints of mischievousness. She naturally understood that Qin Wentian was doing this for her sake. Let's go and have a good stroll around the southern Phoenix Immortal City. Qin Wentian turned and the three of them left together. Not long after, on the ancient streets of the southern Phoenix Immortal City, three young men with extraordinary auras could be seen. The males were handsome while the females were beautiful, attracting the attention of many. Senior brother, the southern Phoenix Immortal City is truly flourishing. Earlier, that ancient palace actually had an Immortal King level innate technique. How terrifying. Jun Mengchen sighed as he walked through the crowd. You have to think about it. To be able to open an ancient palace of such scale in the southern Phoenix Immortal City, how illustrious must the identity of the owner be? He must also be a powerful Immortal King character. For us immortals, every time we break through to the next level, we would need a vast amount of resources. If Immortal Kings want to grow stronger, they would need all sorts of heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures. That's true. Senior brother, look over there, there are so many beautiful women. It seems to be an immortal weapon ancient palace. Jun Mengchen pointed ahead. Qin Wentian and the two others walked over and glanced inside. Purgatory's beautiful eyes flashed with a bright light as she exclaimed, How beautiful. Qin Wentian glanced over and was similarly shocked. This was an ancient palace where divine weapons were traded. Not only were these divine weapons extremely powerful, they wouldn't be damaged even if stellar martial cultivators changed their sizes. Some of them could even fuse into their flesh and blood. Since they were divine weapons, they naturally had powerful defensive capabilities and also suited the pursuit of beauty by females. Hence, many immortal maidens favored them. How luxurious! Jun Mengchen sighed. Such an ancient palace was truly at its peak in the southern Phoenix Immortal City. Do you like it? Qin Wendian smiled as he stared at Purgatory. Purgatory was a little embarrassed as she glanced at Qin Wendian. However, Qin Wendian was extremely happy. Purgatory was becoming more and more human-like. This was a good thing, it indicated that her spiritual body had completely transformed. In that case, let's go and pick one. Qin Wendian smiled. Without waiting for Purgatory to reply, he directly walked in. Not long after, the three of them walked out. A beautiful fiery red robe was draped over Purgatory's body. The threads of the robe seemed to be woven from the feathers of phoenixes, outlining Purgatory's figure to perfection. The robe was incomparably elegant, exuding both sexiness and nobility. Big brother Qin, it's so expensive. A single robe is equivalent to 10 immortal ranked weapons. Although Purgatory liked it, she still felt some heartache. Isn't it easy to get immortal ranked weapons? We can just forge many in the Drift's now ancient city. It's good that you like it. I haven't given you any gifts yet. Just treat this as a gift. Qin Wendian smiled. As for the other two, one is for Princess Qing, and the other is for sister-in-law Qingcheng. Jun Mengchen, who was at the side, giggled. His senior brother Qin was truly awesome. No wonder so many beauties liked him. You are the smart one. Qin Wendian glared at Jun Mengchen. Alright, we've strolled around enough. Tomorrow is the appointed date. Let's return to the inn first. Every inch of land in this southern Phoenix Immortal City is worth its weight in gold. Even the inns here are so expensive that the poor can't even survive. They can only sleep on the streets every day. This is the rule of the immortal realms. Only the strong are qualified to enjoy the best treatment and resources. Settling down in southern Phoenix Immortal City, the Namhuang clan will protect the safety of the entire city. That's true. Jun Mengchen nodded. After they returned to the inn, they sat in the open-air restaurant of the inn, sipping on tea as they stared at the crowd below. During these days, the number of people coming and going in this area had clearly increased. Clearly, there were many people who wanted to watch a good show and wanted to inquire about the news of the immortal banquet tomorrow. Naturally, there were also people who were invited here. At this moment, a group of figures descended from the open-air restaurant. Upon seeing this group of people, the eyes of many gleamed with sharpness. It's people from the Shen clan. Shen Yi is a Heaven's Chosen, and it's said that he received an invitation from the Namhuang clan. Could it be him? Someone glanced at a white-robed young master among this group of people. He held a folding fan in his hands and was extraordinarily handsome. He directly sat down as his subordinates immediately went to order food and wine. Shen Yi's gaze was focused on the surrounding scenery. When his gaze landed on Purgatory, he paused for a moment before nodding to her with a smile before shifting his gaze away, exuding a graceful demeanor. Beauties are truly attractive. That beauty exudes an extraordinary aura and should have an extraordinary background. The young man beside her also exudes an extraordinary aura. Someone noticed this scene and spoke in a low voice. But no matter how extraordinary he is, can he be compared to Shen Yi? He's the young master of the Shen clan and has terrifying talent. He was once ranked within the top 3 of the Immortal Ascension rankings in the City of Ancient Emperors. That's true. If Shen Yi pursues this woman, he would surely regret the fact that it was so easy for him to woo her. Everyone discussed in a low voice. Qin Wendian didn't mind. He stared at the unhappy Purgatory and smiled. Beauties will always be the center of attention no matter where they go. Purgatory, you should be happy instead. This only means that your charm is greater than mine. Not interested. Purgatory coldly replied. The people of the southern Phoenix Immortal City were all extremely bold in their conversations. Because of safety, they dared to casually discuss some things. Brother Shen, why are you drinking alone here? At this moment, a voice drifted over. A few more figures descended from the air. The person who spoke was clad in golden robes that shone with a resplendent light. People from the Gold Clan. Everyone stared at the experts descending from the air. They were clad in resplendent golden armor and were incomparably dazzling. No matter where they went, they would be the most dazzling existences. This was the symbol of the Gold Clan. The people of the Gold Clan established an immortal empire and are incomparably powerful. Seems like there are princes of immortal empires invited here to participate in the immortal banquet hosted by the Namhuang clan. There are so many geniuses here, the Namhuang clan is going to be lively. Seems like there are quite a few disciples from immortal emperor-ranked powers in the southern regions of the immortal realms who were invited here. I wonder which holy maiden of the Namhuang clan would be the victor this time around. Everyone discussed. Jun Mengchen stared at Qin Wendian and asked in a low voice, is it really like what the rumors say? Maybe. We will know tomorrow. Let's return. Qin Wendian faintly spoke. Purgatory immediately stood up and followed after him. Jun Mengchen initially wanted to take a look, but when he saw that Qin Wendian wasn't interested, he decided to leave together with them. On the second morning, the three of them left the inn and sped towards the Namhuang clan. On the way there, they encountered many terrifying experts. Just like what the rumors said, there were many experts from the major powers of the southern region here. Chapter 1038. Jun Mengchen and Qin Wendian inclined their heads and stared at the air only to see Jun Mengchen laughing. It feels like we are in the city of ancient emperors again. Those who came here should all be from major powers, right? That must be the case. Qin Wendian nodded lightly. In the air, 8 powerful white tigers could be seen pulling a chariot through the air, exuding a fearsome baleful aura. There was also an expert sitting on a young Pishio, exuding an aura of magnificence. There was also another expert sitting on a golden war chariot, being pulled towards the ancient palace of the Namhuang clan. What a grand lineup, Jun Mengchen spoke in a low voice. If senior brother knew this earlier, we would have been more imposing. Our aura is truly weak now. Qin Wendian casually smiled. The immortal realms were boundlessly vast, and the southern domain was also extremely vast. There were many immortal emperors here, and among them, the Namhuang clan was one of the strongest. Hence, the aura of these experts from the other powers naturally wouldn't be weak. Among immortal emperors, there were also differences in strength. The Southern Phoenix Matriarch was a powerful immortal emperor with a deeper foundation. Naturally, the Southern Phoenix clan had countless years of foundation and naturally had more than one immortal emperor. This was the strength of an ancient clan. Leaving aside the Namhuang clan, Emperor Qianbian had said before that there were other immortal emperors under the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. And in the Evergreen Kingdom, the Green and White Emperors were the leaders. Qin Wendian also knew of many descendants of immortal emperors in the city of ancient emperors. For example, Xian Yang and Xian Xing's father, the Xian Emperor, and Xiao Lingyue's father, the Xiao Emperor. There were also many geniuses in the city of ancient emperors who were descendants of immortal emperors. These immortal emperors didn't have the foundation of the Namhuang clan. Some of them established their own sects and sects, while some of them stayed alone in their own areas. Therefore, Qin Wendian stood outside the Namhuang clan and saw many shocking scenes. He knew that many of these people were heaven's chosen from immortal emperor-level forces, and some were even descendants of immortal emperors. That day, he met 2 people in the inn. One was Shin Yi from the Shin clan. It was rumored that the Shin clan had an immortal emperor and they were currently residing in the southern Phoenix Immortal City. Their relationship with the Namhuang clan had always been pretty good. The other person was clad in golden robes, he seemed to be a prince of an immortal empire. This time around, those invited to the banquet are all immortal foundation experts. Qin Wendian glanced at the cultivation bases of the experts in the air. Excluding those guards, the young men in the lead were all at the Immortal Foundation realm. The weakest among them was at the 1st level of Immortal Foundation, while the strongest among them was at the 4th level. This was already a mid-stage Immortal Foundation character and they all seemed more mature than the rest. Qin Wendian glanced at them. The experts in the void stared at each other, their eyes shining with sharpness, vaguely showing signs of fighting. Big brother Qin, why don't I revert to my original form and bring you in? Purgatory spoke in a low voice. When she saw the auras of the experts in the surroundings, she faintly felt that Qin Wendian's aura was too weak in front of them. She wanted to help Qin Wendian regain some face. With the Purgatory Vermilion bird as her mount, she wouldn't be inferior to anyone else. No need. Qin Wendian smiled and shook his head. This lass would always think of him no matter what. She didn't feel that she would feel wronged at all. They had already arrived at the entrance of the Namhuang clan. The experts all landed on the ground and reported their clan names. The guards immediately allowed them in. When Qin Wendian walked over, a guard blocked his path. Qin Wendian waved his hand and an invitation card appeared. The guard glanced at it and similarly allowed Qin Wendian to enter. Within the Namhuang clan, there were many beautiful maids standing to the left and right. These maids all exuded extraordinary auras and when they saw the three of them entering, they immediately stepped forward to lead the way. When Qin Wendian's group of three entered, one of the maids immediately stepped forward and smiled gently, "Young master, young miss, please follow me." "Many thanks." Qin Wendian smiled and nodded. He followed the ancient path and entered the Southern Phoenix clan. "Young master, what is your surname?" The maid smiled at Qin Wendian as she asked. "Qin." Young master Qin's demeanor is extraordinary. "I wonder which holy maiden invited you here." The maid smiled as she casually chatted with Qin Wendian. Her voice was clear and melodious, causing those who heard it to feel comfortable. "Namhuang Yunxi." Qin Wendian smiled as he replied. The maid was clearly startled. Her beautiful eyes surveyed Qin Wendian as she smiled. "Young master Qin is truly extraordinary." "Why? Is it strange for Namhuang Yunxi to invite me?" Qin Wendian asked in surprise. Holy Maiden Yunxi is highly regarded in our Namhuang clan. Furthermore, this immortal banquet is also held for her. She can be considered the main character of this immortal banquet. Everyone wants to know who Holy Maiden Yunxi will invite. Who would have thought that this servant would be so lucky to meet young Master Qin first? The maid laughed softly, her tone was pleasant to the ears. "In that case, you're going to be noticed again. This isn't a good thing." Qin Wendian shrugged his shoulders. Young Master Qin is truly humorous. Many people want to be invited by Holy Maiden Yunxi, but they don't even have the chance. The maid pretended to roll her eyes at Qin Wendian. Because of her beauty, even though she was a maid, no one would feel offended. Qin Wendian silently praised her. Even the maids of the Namhuang clan were so powerful. "Are there a lot of holy maidens in the Namhuang clan?" Qin Wendian curiously asked. "Not many. Every 100 years, the Namhuang clan would select 36 outstanding individuals to become the holy maidens of the Namhuang clan. Within 100 years, if these holy maidens fail to step onto the immortal path, their qualifications as holy maidens would be stripped away." The maid didn't hide anything from Qin Wendian. She continued, "Also, after 100 years, the holy maidens would have to undergo a test. One of them would be chosen to become the core of this batch of holy maidens. The other holy maidens would act as Tao protectors and this holy maiden would be known as the holy successor. The other holy maidens would be known as the Tao protector holy maidens. The holy successor is a candidate to become the future Southern Phoenix matriarch." "Understood." Qin Wendian nodded. For a clan like this that had existed for countless years, they naturally had their own set of rules. Only the most outstanding person would be able to become the holy successor. Also, the holy successor would have to compete against the other holy maidens. There was only one Southern Phoenix matriarch. But in the Namhuang clan, once one became the holy successor, their status would instantly rise to another level. Their status would be extremely lofty and they could even command many immortal kings of the Namhuang clan. This was a matter of honor and glory. The popularity of holy maiden Yunxi is very high. The maid smiled at Qin Wentian. She cast a deep glance at Qin Wentian, as though wanting to see how extraordinary Qin Wentian was exactly. Since Nam Huang Yunxi invited him here, it was clear that she regarded him very highly. Qin Wentian smiled but didn't say anything. As they spoke, they already arrived at a spacious area. There were many serving maids here, preparing for the immortal banquet. Many geniuses stood in different directions and chatted. These people who were invited here were all extraordinary, the majority of them were elites from the southern region of the immortal realms. Qin Wentian also saw a few familiar figures. Rong Xiao, the young man who asked him for purgatory, Shen Yi, and the golden-robed young man, he met them before in the inn. Shen Yi also saw Qin Wentian and the others. His gaze landed on purgatory as he walked over and smiled at Qin Wentian, so the three of you are also here to attend the banquet of the Nam Huang clan. My name is Shen Yi of the Shen clan. I wonder how I should address you all. Qin Wentian, my junior brother Jun Mengchen, my younger sister Purgatory. Qin Wentian spoke. Isn't she your servant? Why did she become your younger sister? A light laughter rang out. Rong Xiao also saw Qin Wentian and the others, and he walked over. The last time we met, I heard Purgatory referring to you as her master. Does Brother Shen know them as well? Rong Xiao asked. I met them once before. Shen Yi nodded lightly. So this is the case. Does Brother Shen know that this maiden is a demonic beast? Her true form is a purgatory vermilion bird. Rong Xiao stared at Purgatory as he spoke. After that, he turned to Qin Wentian, my words before still stand. If you are willing to trade, you can state your price. Is that so? I'm afraid I can't afford it. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. Just a mere demonic beast. Even if it's a saint beast, how could I not be able to afford it? Rong Xiao calmly spoke. Sure, I'll use you to trade for it. In the future, you will be my servant, and I will order you around. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. A moment later, Rong Xiao's smile froze as his gaze turned sharp. The two of them stared at each other. You want to use a demonic beast as a servant to trade for me? Are you trying to humiliate me? Rong Xiao coldly spoke. You are the one who wants to humiliate yourself. In fact, in my eyes, even if there were 10 of you, you still wouldn't be qualified to be mentioned in the same breath as Purgatory. Who the hell do you think you are? Qin Wentian unyieldingly spoke. Both of their words were filled with sharpness, instantly attracting the attention of many. Those geniuses all had smiles on their faces as they stared at the scene before them with interest. This man seems extremely unfamiliar. Everyone stared at Qin Wentian as they mused. They had no idea who invited him here. Sir, your words are so rude and disrespectful. Would there really be a holy maiden who would invite you to participate in this immortal banquet? Rong Xiao coldly spoke. If people respect me, I will respect them. As for who invited me, what does that have to do with you? Qin Wentian retorted. Rong Xiao laughed. Fine, I will wait. As he spoke, he walked to the side. At this moment, from different directions of the Nam Huang clan, numerous silhouettes could be seen walking over. Each and every one of them was extremely beautiful, exuding an ethereal aura. All of them were celestial maidens. Chapter 1039. Qin Wentian glanced at everyone, all of them were females. For a moment, 100 flowers bloomed in the air as they came from different directions. The Southern Phoenix clan had countless years of foundation and each of their bloodlines were flourishing. They were like a small country and naturally had many descendants. Any ancient clan that had existed for countless years would naturally flourish. These beauties before them were all holy maidens. They would be contending for the position of the holy successor of this generation. What a feast of beauties! Those who came sighed in admiration. The number of beauties before them was truly dazzling, too much for their eyes to take in. Nanfeng Qingrua, pure and refined, truly a peerless beauty. Many people turned their gazes onto the maiden in green. Nanfeng Qingrua had a cultivation base at the second level of Immortal Foundation. Her cultivation base was extremely high and she was one of the few holy maidens of the Southern Phoenix clan with the most support. Nanfeng Xinga is like a character from a painting, untainted by the mortal world. Everyone turned to another holy maiden of the Namhuang clan, Nanfeng Xinga. She was also at the second level of Immortal Foundation and was extremely powerful. Her demeanor was extraordinary and she was one of the most popular holy maidens. Nanfeng Aoshua, a domineering beauty, a cold beauty with a cultivation base at the third level of Immortal Foundation. Everyone turned to another holy maiden. This holy maiden was none other than Nanfeng Mushua of the Namhuang clan. Namhuang Yunshi. At this moment, the eyes of everyone landed on a cold maiden clad in phoenix robes. Her beauty was unparalleled, and even among the group of beauties, one could still recognize her with a single glance. This maiden was none other than Namhuang Yunshi. Senior brother, the Namhuang clan is truly an ancient clan. Their population is flourishing and beauties are as common as the clouds. If the Namhuang clan were to hold a marriage selection, just the thought of it would cause one to feel fear. The inheritance of the Namhuang clan is truly strong. Jun Mengchen mumbled beside Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian smiled and shook his head. How could the descendants of such outstanding people not be outstanding? The Namhuang clan only wants to marry into their clan. Do you want to consider it? Qin Wentian smiled at Jun Mengchen. Actually, it doesn't matter to me. It still depends on strength. Even if I marry into their clan, if one day my strength is stronger than everyone in the Namhuang clan, wouldn't I be able to live a carefree life? I can even establish my own sect. Jun Mengchen casually spoke. That's because they have the mark of the Namhuang clan on them. There are many businesses of the Namhuang clan owned in this city. In fact, many sects are affiliated to the Namhuang clan. These sects are all branches of the Namhuang clan. Jun Mengchen smiled and nodded. Indeed, it was impossible for a disciple of the Heavenly Talisman realm to marry into the Namhuang clan. Senior brother, I feel that although the Namhuang clan doesn't say it openly, but according to the rumors I've heard these few days, they really do have the intention to recruit a son-in-law. Jun Mengchen transmitted his voice to Qin Wentian. Think about it, who are the people invited this time around? Heavens chosen from the major powers, or the descendants of immortal kings and emperors. These holy maidens all have a good relationship with them, and if they really have a good relationship with one of them, they might even talk about marriage and become the son-in-law of the Namhuang clan. After that, the Namhuang clan would form a marriage alliance with the major powers of the southern region. Qin Wentian smiled as he glanced at Jun Mengchen, nodding his head lightly. Many holy maidens of the Namhuang clan also had to marry. They would naturally choose the most outstanding person. That's why I said that Namhuang Yunshi is interested in senior brother. Jun Mengchen continued transmitting his voice, giggling. Qin Wentian glared at him, maybe she only invited me here to help. Namhuang Yunshi is acquainted with us in the city of ancient emperors, and the cultivation bases of the other holy maidens aren't any weaker than her. Before this, they must have entered the city of ancient emperors or other places to roam the immortal realms and know many friends. Hence, they invited us here. The Namhuang clan is a transcendent power, and the status of their holy maidens is extraordinary. It's not as easy to marry them as you think. Fairy Aoshue, how have you been? Rong Xiao walked up to Nanfeng Aoshue with a smile on his face. Rong Xiao, it's been a long time. You look as graceful as ever. Nanfeng Aoshue nodded her head to Rong Xiao. After that, she turned her gaze to the other people beside her as they chatted. Rong Xiao discovered that Nanfeng Aoshue didn't just invite him here. She also invited a few other friends, both male and female. One of them was exceptionally outstanding, and Nanfeng Aoshue was smiling as she chatted with him. Zhongzhan. This person was named Zhongzhan. His entire body glowed with a golden light, and just by standing there, he gave off a terrifying feeling of sharpness. He's a demonic beast. Purgatory spoke in a low voice. She could sense the blazing demonic qi in his body. Bzz. Zhongzhan's gaze shot over. His eyes were golden in color, and they were akin to countless sharp swords that directly landed on Purgatory, causing her to feel a piercing pain. Purgatory vermilion bird. Zhongzhan's eyes gleamed with a wild light. A golden condor. Purgatory coldly spoke. Zhongzhan's true form was that of a condor. It's a golden heaven-warring condor. Zhongzhan faintly spoke, smiling at Purgatory. However, there were hints of ill intentions in that smile, causing a look of wariness to appear in Purgatory's eyes. Qin Wendian smiled when he saw how angry Purgatory was. Although Purgatory seemed more mature, her temperament wasn't as steady as Little Rascal. If Little Rascal was here, he might act the same way as Zhongzhan, showing a look of yearning for Qin Wendian. Zhongzhan would definitely be angered. The friends invited by Nanfeng Qingrua and Nanfeng Xinge were all extraordinary as well. Clearly, they were the cream of the crop among the geniuses here. Qin Wendian faintly heard some people mentioning the city of ancient emperors. These people should all have glorious battle achievements in the Immortal Ascension rankings. The gazes of many turned to Nanfeng Yunxi. This young holy maiden of the Southern Phoenix clan didn't seem to have many friends. They had never heard of her having any special friends, and no one knew who she invited. At this moment, the crowd only saw Namhuang Yunxi turning her gaze in a certain direction. After which, a hint of a smile flickered in her eyes, akin to a cold plum blossom blooming in the snow. Her beauty was indescribable, causing many in the crowd to be mesmerized. After which, Namhuang Yunxi took the initiative to walk in a certain direction, stopping before a few people. She smiled at a young man. Seems like I didn't trust you wrongly. You are indeed here. The eyes of the crowd flickered, instantly focusing on Qin Wendian. There was no such character in the Southern Phoenix Immortal City. If not, he would have been recognized long ago. A beauty from the Southern Phoenix Immortal City sent someone to deliver the invitation. How can I not attend the banquet? Qin Wendian smiled. I spent a great deal of effort before I managed to find you. Luckily, the invitation was delivered to you. In order to locate Qin Wendian, Namhuang Yunxi had mobilized quite a bit of her power. When she learned that Qin Wendian was at the Immortal Qianbian Gate, she sent someone to deliver the invitation to him. You only invited me. Qin Wendian stared at Namhuang Yunxi as he chatted with her. No one else came forward. Namhuang Yunxi nodded lightly. Aren't you worried that I wouldn't attend after receiving the invitation? Qin Wendian was speechless. In that case, I can only blame it on my bad luck. But no matter what, I'm still a member of the Qin sect. I believe you, as the sect leader of the Qin sect, wouldn't not give me face. Oi, you guys are flirting like this. Is it really okay to leave me hanging by the side? Jun Mengchen spoke in a depressed tone. Namhuang Yunxi glanced at him and smiled. I didn't expect you to be here as well. Seems like my luck is pretty good. Is this beauty purgatory? Qin Wendian nodded. 3 from the Qin sect came. Namhuang Yunxi smiled. At this moment, a beautiful maiden that was as beautiful as a painting walked over. It was none other than Nanfeng Xinge. She smiled at Qin Wendian and spoke, You must be the leader of the Qin sect, Qin Wendian, who fought side by side with Yunxi in the city of ancient emperors, right? You used your shocking strength to defeat the son of Zidi, Zi Daoyang, and obtained the first rank in the Immortal Ascension rankings, trampling all the geniuses of that batch under your feet. No wonder Yunxi would invite you here. Holy Maiden praises me too much. Qin Wendian smiled as he replied. Beside Nanfeng Xinge, there was a young man who was bathed in a mystical light. His aura was incomparably surging, and he was clearly an extraordinary character. He stared at Qin Wendian and spoke, I've heard of you as well. Zi Daoyang died in the hands of Mo Xia, but the reason why you injured him and drew out Zidi's immortal sense is not unrelated. I also heard that the son of the Xian Emperor, Xian Xing, died in your hands as well, and the personal disciple of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor, Ke Tianyi, was also killed by you. You are the most illustrious character in the city of ancient emperors, and only Mo Xia can contend against you. Upon hearing the words of this person, the expressions of the crowd changed as they stared at Qin Wentian. Before this, they were all filled with doubt and disdain. But now, they had to take him seriously. Heavily injuring Zi Daoyang, causing his death, killing the son of the Xian Emperor, and destroying the personal disciple of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. This fellow didn't seem to be as calm as he looked on the surface. He was definitely a madman, offending 3 immortal emperors in a single instant. He was simply tired of living. Chapter 1040. Rong Zhao's gaze changed when he looked at Qin Wentian. He didn't expect Qin Wentian to be so famous, obtaining the top ranker of the Immortal Ascension rankings in the City of Ancient Emperors. As for Zidi's son Zi Daoyang and Mo Xia, they had never interacted with them before and didn't have a good understanding of their strength. But since they were descendants of immortal kings and emperors, they shouldn't be weak. It was just that they didn't know how strong they would be when compared to the geniuses at the peak of the southern regions. He shouldn't be a genius from the southern Phoenix Immortal City, right? Someone asked. Qin Wentian is from the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures, the immortal Qianbian Gate where the Emperor Qianbian resides. Nanfeng Yunxi spoke, informing everyone of Qin Wentian's identity. If this was the case, they would be more respectful when speaking to him. Many of the people here were descendants of immortal kings and emperors, and some of them were geniuses at the peak of the southern region. So this is the case. A heavens chosen from the eastern regions, it's truly not bad to be able to meet here. If there's a chance, we can even spar against each other. The eyes of someone flickered with battle intent. Although he is the top ranker of the Immortal Ascension rankings, he is in the same batch as Holy Maiden Namhuang Yunxi and has just broken through to Immortal Foundation not too long ago. His cultivation base isn't high enough. A young expert wearing a special armor said faintly. His tone was filled with arrogance and arrogance. He was wearing a platinum-like battle robe, which made people feel that he was extraordinarily powerful. His eyes were so calm that it made people feel that he was unfathomable. This person stood beside a supreme beautiful holy maiden. This was none other than Nanfeng Qingrua, a heaven's chosen who was invited here by Nanfeng Qingrua. Even in the perspective of the crowd here, his status could be considered to be at the peak. He was a disciple of a powerful ancient clan in the southern regions, a supreme genius of the Jiang clan. The Jiang clan was the same as the Namhuang clan, an ancient clan with a long history and deep foundations. It wasn't easy for Nanfeng Qingrua to invite a disciple of the Jiang clan here. What was even rarer was that this young man was named Jiang Ziyu. He was extremely famous among the younger generations of the Jiang clan, and many years ago, he was the top ranker on the Immortal Ascension rankings in the City of Ancient Emperors. Right now, he had already broken through to the second level of Immortal Foundation and had extremely powerful combat prowess. In the southern regions of the Immortal Realms, the 3 ancient clans were the hegemons. The other immortal emperor-ranked powers all had their own sharpness, but the foundations of the 3 ancient clans were the deepest. The 3 ancient clans were the Namhuang clan of the southern Phoenix Immortal City, the Jiang clan of the ancient Sky Capital, and the Ying clan of the Imperial Emperor City. Among the 3 ancient clans, the Namhuang clan didn't like to fight, hence, the southern Phoenix Immortal City was extremely safe. The Jiang clan was the most low-profile and mysterious, having the smallest population among the 3. The Ying clan of the Imperial Emperor City had the greatest ambitions. They established the Ying Immortal Empire and were the hegemons of the southern regions on the surface. In the empire, the Ying clan was the king, unlike the Namhuang clan and the Jiang clan who didn't openly control their own territories. They only had absolute influence in their own territories, but they didn't need other powers to submit to them. Qin Wentian glanced at Jiang Ziyu, he could sense the vast might radiating from him. Jiang Ziyu was definitely an extremely powerful character. After which, he heard Namhuang Yunxi sending him a voice transmission, a genius from the Jiang clan, one of the 3 ancient clans of the southern regions, Jiang Ziyu. He entered the city of ancient emperors many years ago and obtained the top ranker on the Immortal Ascension rankings. Qin Wendian glanced at Nam Huang Yunshi. Seems like Nam Huang Yunshi regarded this young man with great importance and intentionally sent him a voice transmission. The immortal banquet has already been prepared. Everyone, please be seated. At this moment, a voice drifted over. Everyone turned their gazes over, and upon seeing that the preparations for the immortal banquet had already been completed, they all nodded their heads and entered the immortal banquet, casually taking their seats. Qin Wendian, Jun Mengchen, Purgatory and Nam Huang Yunshi sat together, while the other holy maidens sat beside their friends. The immortal banquet was naturally extremely sumptuous. There were strange fruits that exuded immortal qi, and one could tell with a single glance that these weren't ordinary items. Jun Mengchen took a fruit and directly swallowed it. A moment later, he felt a terrifying surge of heat burning his immortal body, seeping into his immortal bones, cleansing his body. Good stuff. Jun Mengchen smiled. Senior brother, it seems like we're in luck. The immortal banquet of the Nam Huang clan isn't simple at all. Yunshi, do you want to sit on the host seat? This immortal banquet today can be considered to have used your name to invite all the geniuses here. The beautiful matriarch of the Southern Phoenix clan glanced at Nanfeng Yunshi as she spoke. No need, it's the same even if I sit here. Nam Huang Yunshi shook her head. That's fine too, accompany your friends and have a good chat. The beautiful middle-aged woman calmly spoke. There were many elders from the previous generations of the Nam Huang clan beside her. Everyone here is from the same generation. As people from the previous generations, there's no need for us to say too much. Everyone, feel free to come here and interact more. There's no need to stand on ceremony. If you have any requests, feel free to state them. These juniors of the Nam Huang clan still need your help. The beautiful middle-aged woman smiled. After that, she raised her wine cup and smiled at everyone. Let me toast to everyone. I wish everyone a pleasant banquet. Senior is too polite. Everyone raised their cups and downed it. After that, they started chatting among themselves, creating a lively atmosphere. You should be able to guess that the reason I invited you here isn't merely because I've stepped into the Immortal Foundation, right? Nam Huang Yunshi spoke to Qin Wendian beside her. Qin Wendian nodded his head lightly. In that case, do you know the specifics now? Nam Huang Yunshi asked again. I roughly know a little, but I don't know the details. Qin Wendian replied. I'm here to ask for your help. Nam Huang Yunshi directly spoke. There are many holy maidens in the Nam Huang clan, but only one can appear every 100 years. They have to pass the test and enter the ancestral land of our Nam Huang clan. Only the ancestral land can determine who the holy successor is. Ancestral land? Qin Wendian's eyes flashed. The Nam Huang clan actually didn't hide anything about this. Yes, the ancestral land requires someone to protect the holy successor. Among the holy maidens of the Nam Huang clan, only 9 of them have the qualifications to enter. Hence, the majority of them have to be eliminated. I invited you here because I want to ask for your help. I want to contend for the position of the holy successor. Nam Huang Yunshi didn't beat around the bush and spoke directly. After speaking, her beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wendian. Okay, I will do my best to help you. Qin Wendian nodded, not bothering to be polite at all. Thank you. However, our opponents aren't simple. They are all very powerful. Nam Huang Yunshi smiled. Since she invited Qin Wendian here, she naturally understood that given Qin Wendian's personality, he would definitely act to help her. This fellow was someone who valued loyalty. I know. Aren't you worried that my cultivation base is too low when I just stepped into Immortal Foundation? I can see that the highest cultivation base here is at the 4th level of Immortal Foundation. Are there no restrictions on the cultivation base of the people you invite? Qin Wendian curiously asked. Cultivation base doesn't represent everything. You will understand. Nam Huang Yunshi smiled. I believe that we will definitely succeed in the first round and enter the ancestral land of the Nam Huang clan. To you, this can also be considered a tempering exercise. It's just that after entering the ancestral land, the competition will be even more intense. You will have to face powerful opponents. Qin Wentian nodded his head lightly. I still have a question. Why don't you get the Nam Huang clan's own people to protect the ancestral land? Why do you want to use outsiders instead? Very simple. After the holy maidens of the Nam Huang clan enter the ancestral land to obtain the inheritance, there would be a period of time where they wouldn't be able to resist. If the people of the Nam Huang clan enter together, it would be too dangerous. Let alone protecting the ancestral land, they might not even be able to resist the temptation of the inheritance. Nam Huang Yunshi slowly spoke. Upon seeing a look of contemplation on Qin Wentian's face, she smiled, but you don't have to think too much about it. Only those with the bloodline of the Nam Huang clan would be able to obtain the inheritance. They even dare to defy the orders of the Nam Huang clan. Is the temptation of the ancestral land so great? Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. This has already been proven many years ago. There were many cases of betrayal, and in the end, we decided to use people who aren't from the Nam Huang clan. The ancestral land has a mysterious attraction to the descendants of the Nam Huang clan. Nam Huang Yunshi replied. The two of them were chatting openly. The others were the same as well. Since they asked for help, they naturally had to make things clear. After all, this wasn't some secret. Many people came here because they wanted to witness the inheritance of the Nam Huang clan. All the geniuses here should understand now, right? The inheritance of our Nam Huang clan will have to trouble all of you. The beautiful middle-aged woman spoke again. The ancestral land opened once every 100 years to select a holy successor. To the Nam Huang clan, this was a major matter. It's my honor to be able to personally protect the holy successor of the Nam Huang clan. An arrogant voice rang out. The person who spoke was none other than Zhongzhan. He was confident in his own strength, and in addition to Nanfeng Aoshua's strength, there was no doubt that the two of them would be a perfect match. Arrogant. Jiang Ziyu coldly spoke. After that, he turned to Nanfeng Qingrua beside him and spoke in a low voice, Qingrua, the position of the holy successor will definitely be yours. Shinga, I naturally won't disappoint you. The protector of Nanfeng Shinga spoke, he was determined to succeed. All the geniuses here are filled with lofty aspirations. I wish all of you success in advance. The beautiful middle-aged woman smiled. She liked to see the holy maidens of the Nam Huang clan competing against each other. Only through competition would experts emerge. The most outstanding ones would always step on geniuses to advance. Chapter 1041. Everyone enjoyed the immortal banquet, chatting idly. Nam Huang Yunshi introduced many immortal emperors to Qin Wentian, as well as many geniuses with extraordinary statuses. Qin Wentian silently noted them down. Immortal emperors were existences that stood at the peak of the immortal realms. It was precisely this group of people that stood at the peak of authority. This was especially so for those immortal emperors who controlled vast territories. For example, the three ancient clans of the southern regions. One could say that they controlled the vast majority of the southern regions and had terrifying influence. Just a slight move from them would cause the entire southern regions to tremble. After the banquet, the beautiful middle-aged woman stood up and invited everyone to the southern Phoenix arena of the Nam Huang clan. After that, all the holy maidens and geniuses respectively stood up and headed over. In the inner regions of the southern Phoenix clan, there was an extremely spacious area. There were many Phoenix pavilions here, and among them, the largest one in the center was the most dazzling. Streams of light flowed around the Phoenix pavilion, resplendent and resplendent. There seemed to be a powerful formation inscribed on it, exuding a marvelous might. At this moment, all the geniuses arrived here. Beside each holy maiden of the Nam Huang clan, there were experts that they invited to help them. Beside Nam Huang Yunshi, Qin Wentian, Jun Mengchen, and Purgatory stood there. In the surroundings of the southern Phoenix arena, many figures silently appeared. These were all old men from the various factions of the Namhuang clan. They were all paying close attention to this battle. The Namhuang clan was governed by the Southern Phoenix Matriarch, and although these holy maidens all had the blood of the Southern Phoenix Matriarch flowing in their veins, they were all from different factions of the Namhuang clan. The holy maidens who could become the holy successor of the Southern Phoenix Matriarch might very well determine the potential of that faction. In the future, whoever ascended to the position of the Southern Phoenix Matriarch would be the ruler of the entire Namhuang clan. Hence, every 100 years, a holy successor would be born. Let's go to the Phoenix Arena. Namhuang Yunshi spoke to Qin Wentian and the other two. Immediately, they walked up to one of the 36 smaller Southern Phoenix stages. Immediately, the shadow of a phoenix appeared on that Southern Phoenix stage, surrounding the entire stage. One faction after another walked up to the Southern Phoenix stage, and although the shadow of the phoenix was different in shape, its aura and size were all the same. Next, my Namhuang clan will select 9 holy maidens to enter the ancestral lands. These 9 holy maidens will be from the 9 factions with the highest battle achievements. The holy maidens can participate in the battles, or they can invite their friends to assist them in battle. But remember, the holy maidens can borrow the power of the formations of the Southern Phoenix stage to increase their combat prowess, allowing them to have a combat strength at the peak of the 3rd level of Immortal Foundation. When the holy maidens participate in the battles, they must fight against their opponents at the same cultivation level. As for those who assist the holy maidens, they must fight with their own strength and are unable to borrow the power of the formations of the Southern Phoenix stage. At this moment, that beautiful middle-aged woman walked up to the Southern Phoenix stage and announced. Qin Wentian glanced at Namhuang Yunshi only to see her smiling back at him. You are truly ruthless. You can borrow the power of the formations but I can't. Even so, you still invited me. Look at them, the majority of them only invited 2nd level and 3rd level Immortal Foundation experts. There's even one who invited a 4th level Immortal Foundation expert. Are you not afraid that I'll drag your battle achievements down? Qin Wentian stared at Namhuang Yunshi as he spoke. 4th level Immortal Foundation experts can enter the ancestral lands, but they won't be able to participate in this battle. As for 3rd level Immortal Foundation experts, I can borrow the power of the formations to deal with them. As for 1st level and 2nd level Immortal Foundation experts, I believe in your combat prowess. Namhuang Yunshi smiled. Qin Wentian nodded his head lightly. The holy maidens of the Namhuang clan could borrow the power of the formations to unleash a combat strength at the 3rd level of Immortal Foundation. This meant that the battle would still depend on the holy maidens' combat prowess. The people invited here would be used as support in battle. Naturally, the stronger the person, the more useful they would be. As for after entering the ancestral lands, Qin Wentian temporarily didn't know what he wanted them to do. But most probably, the main task was to protect the holy maidens. How many battles are there? Qin Wentian asked. 36 battles. Each group has to fight 36 battles and they cannot repeat the same battle twice. For the 9 groups with the highest battle achievements, the holy maidens will be able to bring people into the ancestral lands, Namhuang Yunshi replied. I'm sure everyone is clear about the rules. Nanfeng Aoshue, you will be the first to fight. After that, you will take turns to fight. The beautiful middle-aged woman spoke. After that, she soared up into the air, leaving the Phoenix Arena in the center to everyone. Nanfeng Aoshue stepped out and instantly landed on the arena. Her aura surged as the might of a 3rd level Immortal Foundation expert gushed forth, causing Qin Wentian to sigh in admiration. Did she really break through to the 3rd level of Immortal Foundation within 100 years of age? Nope. Namhuang Yunshi shook her head. She stared at Qin Wentian and continued, the Namhuang clan will choose 36 holy maidens within 100 years. At the time of selection, some of the holy maidens have already reached adulthood before they were conferred the title of holy maiden. For the battles 100 years later, they naturally wouldn't be over 100 years old. There are also some who were conferred the title of holy maiden during this period of 100 years. When the 100-year deadline arrives, they still haven't stepped into the immortal realm and could only push it back 100 years to participate in the inheritance battle. Nanfeng Aoshue belongs to the former category, while I belong to the latter category. I was conferred the title of Holy Maiden during the middle period of the inheritance battle. If not, I would be the same as Nanfeng Aoshue, participating in the inheritance battle 100 years later. Wouldn't that be an even greater advantage? Qin Wentian laughed. However, even if it's over 100 years later, being able to step into the third level of Immortal Foundation is already considered extremely outstanding, right? The Namhuang clan is an ancient clan with deep foundations. You can't use common sense to evaluate them. For those who stand at the peak, their cultivation speed would naturally be much faster compared to those in the outside world. If I manage to obtain the position of Holy Maiden, I'm afraid you'll have to work harder. If not, I'll leave you in the dust very quickly. Namhuang Yunxi joked. Let's wait and see. Qin Wentian didn't mind it as he laughed. Nanfeng Aoshue chose a faction of holy maidens, while the other holy maiden stepped out. She borrowed the blood of the ancient phoenix to activate the augmentation formation of the phoenix arena, allowing her to possess the aura of a third-level immortal foundation cultivator. The might of their immortal foundations gushed forth as two fearsome phoenixes manifested in the air. Their phoenix immortal foundations flickered in and out of existence. The immortal foundation you established, is it a phoenix immortal foundation as well? Qin Wentian asked Namhuang Yunxi. Naturally, if one has sufficient strength, the holy maidens of our Namhuang clan would all choose to establish a Phoenix Immortal Foundation. But even if the Phoenix Immortal Foundation is of the same grade, the might of the Phoenix Immortal Foundation would naturally be different. Namhuang Yunxi spoke. The Immortal Foundation established by Immortal Foundation experts was formed by fusing all of their astral souls and constellations together, ultimately transforming into an Immortal Foundation. Relying on augmentation formations to increase one's strength is clearly a disadvantage. The Immortal Foundation of third-level Immortal Foundation experts would naturally be much stronger. Qin Wentian silently mused as he watched the battle. Nanfeng Aoshue was like a true phoenix. With a lift of her hand, the shadow of a phoenix could be seen, containing a heaven-shaking might. The gigantic phoenix arena was enveloped by a protective screen of light, preventing the shockwaves from the battle from affecting the surroundings. Speed, strength, flames, immortal arts and innate techniques, Nanfeng Aoshue holds the absolute advantage. There's no doubt about it. Qin Wentian knew that the victor of this battle would be decided in an instant. And as expected, not long after, Nanfeng Aoshue defeated her opponent, obtaining the first victory. After her battle ended, she spoke, "My friend still wants to continue fighting." "Okay." The beautiful middle-aged woman in the air nodded. After that, Zhongzhan stepped out. Zhongzhan was a golden heavenly warring condor, possessing the purest bloodline. His combat prowess was extremely high, and it was said that the defense of this purebred demonic beast was comparable to the divine bird, golden-winged roc. Zhongzhan walked up the Phoenix arena. Golden battle armor instantly appeared on his body as his golden eyes stared at the surroundings. Although he wanted to fight against the most outstanding geniuses, he temporarily suppressed his urge when he thought of Nanfeng Aoshue. After entering the ancestral lands, there was no need to fear that there wouldn't be a chance for him to fight. He had to first ensure that he would win all 36 battles before entering the ancestral lands. "I think it's better for you guys." Zhongzhan's gaze landed on the holy maiden who was defeated by Nanfeng Aoshue earlier. His words caused the holy maiden to frown. She had invited 2 helpers and both of them were experts at the same level as her, at the second level of Immortal Foundation. But even so, it would be a little difficult for them to deal with Zhongzhan. "I'll go." A genius beside the holy maiden walked out. He was a heavens chosen from a major power in the southern Phoenix Immortal City. His aura surged as he exuded terrifying might. However, at this moment, Zhongzhan's entire body radiated golden light as the might of his immortal foundation was unleashed to the extreme. Boom! Stepping out, he was like a bolt of golden lightning as he appeared before his opponent. Numerous terrifying golden heavenly warring condors appeared, intertwining with fearsome law energy. They were like an extremely powerful battle formation, crushing everything in its path. The countenance of his opponent changed. The might of his immortal foundation gushed forth, akin to the Milky Way in the 9 heavens. Silver-white light cascaded downwards, wanting to engulf his opponent's attack. Chi-chi. The golden heavenly warring condors transformed into a battle formation. Their sky-blotting wings directly slashed apart the silver-white light as they continued flying towards their opponent. Terrifying rumbling sounds rang out as the resplendent golden light shattered everything before slamming into his opponent, causing him to cough out blood. How violent! Everyone stared at Zhongzhan. Nanfeng Aoshue was originally very strong and her helpers were also powerful. She instantly obtained 2 victories. Rong Xiao, help me for the 3rd battle. Nanfeng Aoshue spoke to Rong Xiao. Rong Xiao nodded his head. After Zhongzhan retreated from the arena, he walked up and stared at the crowd. His cultivation base was at the 2nd level of Immortal Foundation and his combat prowess was extremely strong. His gaze landed on Namhuang Yunxi's side as he stared at Qin Wentian. Brother Qin from the eastern region, I wonder how strong you are. Are you willing to spar with me? If Brother Qin doesn't dare to, there's no harm in sending Holy Maiden Yunxi out. When the Holy Maiden fought, she had to fight with the same cultivation base as her opponent. But the helpers Namhuang Yunxi invited were all at the 1st level of celestial phenomenon. This caused many to feel bewildered. Did Namhuang Yunxi really intend to rely on her own strength to enter the ancestral lands? Although this battle mainly depended on the Holy Maiden herself, the helpers were still extremely important. Chapter 1042. For the battle today, although there were many 1st-level Immortal Foundation experts, the majority of them were at the 2nd level or even the 3rd level. This was naturally for the sake of victory. If Namhuang Yunxi insisted on participating in every battle, things would be extremely dangerous for her. Before this, I initially thought that Yunxi would be able to enter the ancestral lands. But now it seems that I've made a mistake. Nanfeng Aoshue stared at Namhuang Yunxi as she spoke. Namhuang Yunxi's talent wasn't bad and had established an extremely powerful Immortal Foundation. When she first broke through to Immortal Foundation, many elders in her clan were already looking up to her, hoping that she would be able to enter the ancestral lands and fight for the position of the holy successor. However, she still invited Qin Wentian to participate. Since Qin Wentian was the top ranker on the Immortal Ascension rankings in the City of Ancient Emperors, his strength and talent naturally wouldn't be weak. But after all, he had just broken through to Immortal Foundation, and it wasn't suitable for him to participate in this battle. These people were all geniuses of the southern domain with extraordinary combat prowess. It wouldn't be so easy for them to jump levels and fight against opponents. Senior brother, let me participate in this battle. Jun Mengchen was extremely excited. After he broke through to Immortal Foundation, he had always been in a state of cultivation and had yet to face a true battle. Now, this was a chance for him. Since he stepped onto the Phoenix Arena, he could also be considered a part of the battle. Each Holy Maiden could only invite a maximum of 3 people to participate in a battle, and it just so happened that all 3 of them could participate. As long as they won, it would be considered a victory. Brother Qin, you know that you will lose for sure. Do you want others to lose in your place? Rong Xiao continued, provoking Qin Wentian. After that, he turned his gaze to Purgatory and Namhuang Yunxi as he smiled, Holy Maiden Yunxi, it doesn't seem wise for you to invite Brother Qin to participate in this battle. Mengchen, since this person wants to fight against me so badly, let me do it. There will be a chance for you to fight against him. Qin Wentian spoke to Jun Mengchen. Right. Jun Mengchen nodded. Senior brother, you have to teach him how to be a proper person. Yes. Qin Wentian stepped out, landing on the Phoenix Arena. Brilliant light flashed as a light screen enveloped the platform. Rong Zhao's Immortal Foundation erupted forth as a phenomenon manifested in the sky. Law energy circulated in the air as the might of his Immortal Foundation gushed forth unceasingly. In an instant, Qin Wendian only felt a terrifying immortal might enveloping him. What ability is this? Qin Wendian stared at the constellation diagram formed by the law energy of the void. It actually transformed into numerous armored knights riding on heavenly horses. Each of them wielded a silvery white spear, exuding immortal might. Behind Rong Xiao, a gigantic night shadow also appeared. At this moment, Rong Xiao seemed to be riding on a warhorse as he soared into the sky. Kill! Rong Xiao coldly snorted. A moment later, a myriad of warhorses galloped forth, causing the air to tremble. Countless warhorses charged forth, aiming for Qin Wendian. Their speed was as fast as lightning, able to engulf Qin Wendian in an instant. Their terrifying spears and hooves were sufficient to crush Qin Wendian into dust. These warhorses weren't ordinary warhorses. When their hooves galloped through the air, thunderous rumbling sounds could be heard. They were incomparably thick and fast, as well as powerful attacks. Qin Wendian stepped out in the air, releasing his immortal foundation as a fearsome might gushed forth. This was none other than the might of his immortal foundation. At this instant, Rong Xiao felt his immortal foundation shuddering as a fearsome might bore down on him, like a heavy hammer slamming down on his immortal foundation. Qin Wendian punched out in the air. At the instant this punch blasted out, boundless runic light flowed within, transforming into fist light that could shatter space. Thunderous rumbling sounds rang out as the warhorses were all destroyed, shattered by that resplendent fist light. Not bad. A voice rang out in Qin Wendian's ears. Rong Xiao's silhouette transformed into a beam of light as his silver spear pierced straight for Qin Wendian's throat. Qin Wendian's eyes couldn't even follow his movements. Qin Wendian lifted his palms and blasted out. However, he only saw a flash of white light as the silhouette of his opponent reappeared in another direction. He was still riding on a warhorse, and his speed was extremely fast, as though he wasn't real. Boom! His silhouette transformed into a white silhouette once more as the tens of thousands of warhorses galloped towards Qin Wendian. Qin Wendian furrowed his brows. His immortal sense gushed forth, and as the countless warhorses galloped over, he blasted out another attack. At the same time, his silhouette abruptly dodged to the side. A long spear brushed past his shoulder, transforming into a white silhouette as Rong Xiao appeared behind Qin Wendian. Your attack isn't bad, but your speed is too slow. A first-level immortal foundation is still a first-level immortal foundation after all. The disparity in cultivation levels cannot be made up for. Even if you were the top ranker of the immortal ascension rankings in the city of ancient emperors, it's useless. Rong Xiao spoke arrogantly. He was as carefree as ever as he continued, I won't play with you anymore. Boom! As the sound of his voice faded, Qin Wendian took a step out as a terrifying formless might bore down on his immortal foundation, causing Rong Xiao to furrow his brows. After that, he saw an immortal light radiating from Qin Wendian as the might of his immortal foundation gushed forth. Humph! With a cold snort, Rong Xiao vanished from his location once more. Numerous silhouettes appeared before Qin Wendian, whistling through the air with a speed so fast that it was hard to see with the naked eye. Qin Wendian didn't even bother to look at them. He directly punched out, his fist gleaming with a black light as terrifying law energy circulated around it. With a thunderous boom, the crowd only saw a long spear shattering into pieces. Rong Xiao's body was directly flung through the air, slamming into the light screen of the Phoenix Arena as he coughed out a mouthful of blood. A second-level immortal foundation cultivator only has this much combat prowess? Aren't you a little too useless? Qin Wendian continued walking forward. Rong Xiao's expression instantly turned ashen. Qin Wendian's voice was simply too face-smacking. Who was playing with whom exactly? Earlier, he said that he didn't want to play with Qin Wendian anymore and was sent flying by a single punch. In that instant earlier, he felt his immortal foundation being suppressed. Even the flow of his immortal energy wasn't as smooth as before. That space around him seemed to be sealed and he wanted to evade but he couldn't move at all. He could only take it head-on and was injured by that tyrannical strike. However, How could Qin Wentian, who was only at the first level of Immortal Foundation, be so powerful? You have lost, you can't even withstand a single strike. Qin Wentian walked towards Rong Shao. Boom! Rong Shao directly released his Immortal Foundation. Instantly, the starry space changed as a heavenly horse appeared in the air. It had a pair of silver wings that blotted out the sun as boundless might bore down on Qin Wentian. Rong Shao slowly soared up into the air as he unleashed his strength to the extreme. Bzz. With a flap of his wings, a beam of white light shot out, shooting towards Qin Wentian. It completely appeared in an instant, ignoring the distance between them. Such speed was so fast that no one would be able to react. Boom! Qin Wentian's Immortal Foundation erupted with heaven-shaking might. His body was like a fiend god as terrifying runic light circulated around him. The terrifying spear in Rong Zhao's hand instantly descended, piercing into Qin Wentian. However, at this instant, everyone saw an incomparably gigantic shadow of a Xuanwu divine turtle enveloping Qin Wentian, possessing shocking defensive prowess. As the long spear slashed out, the shadow of the Xuanwu divine turtle exploded apart, landing on Qin Wentian's fiend god physique. Everything happened as fast as lightning. Qin Wentian stretched out his palm, directly grabbing onto Rong Zhao's body. A terrifying jet-black fist blasted out, causing rumbling sounds to echo out. The immortal light radiating from Rong Zhao was instantly shattered as his Immortal Foundation felt like it was about to shatter. Boom! Another terrifying fist strike. Rong Zhao screamed in agony as he coughed out fresh blood and collapsed onto the ground. The phenomenon in the sky dissipated as the resplendent light radiating from him vanished as well. When Qin Wentian saw this scene, the might radiating from him also dissipated. He lowered his head and stared at Rong Zhao. A cultivation base at the second level of Immortal Foundation can't even break through my defense. You are courting a beating. After speaking, Qin Wentian directly turned and walked down the Phoenix Arena. The eyes of everyone gleamed with sharpness as they stared at Qin Wentian. This fellow's combat prowess was so strong. Seems like Namhuang Yunxi invited him here because she understood his combat prowess. As for Rong Zhao, he was defeated so miserably. The gazes of the crowd were filled with pity. He who came here to help, could be said to have lost a lot of face. Earlier when he was defeated, he shouldn't have continued to fight. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. Qin Wentian returned to the side of Namhuang Yunxi as he laughed in a low voice. In this case, Nanfeng Aoshua's camp had 1 defeat, 2 victories and 1 defeat. As for Namhuang Yunxi's camp, they had 1 victory. Nanfeng Aoshua glanced at Qin Wentian, her countenance cold. She was still thinking about whether they would be able to enter the ancestral lands with a complete victory. Who would have thought that her hopes would be shattered in the first round? And from the looks of Rong Zhao, it seemed like he wouldn't be able to participate in the subsequent battles. Rong Zhao stood up with great difficulty. Coldly, he glanced at Qin Wentian before lowering his head and walking down the arena. His face had been completely thrown away. Trash like this still thinks he's infallible. Jun Mengchen mocked. This fellow still wanted to enter purgatory. Continue. The beautiful middle-aged woman in the air spoke. Next, it was time for Nanfeng Qingrua's camp to act. Nanfeng Qingrua chose 2 helpers. One of them was Jiang Ziyu. He was extremely powerful, while the other was also a genius with outstanding talent. Nanfeng Qingrua acted. She chose a holy maiden and defeated her opponent. After that, her 2 helpers also acted and both of them won. Qin Wentian paid close attention to Jiang Ziyu's battle. The Jiang clan and the Namhuang clan were 2 of the 3 supreme clans in the southern regions. Jiang Ziyu was the same as him. He was also the top ranker of the Immortal Ascension rankings in the City of Ancient Emperors. Naturally, he wasn't an ordinary person. When he acted, the surging energy in his body was simply terrifying. With a single strike, he defeated his opponent without even being able to see through his true strength. This caused people to faintly feel that Jiang Ziyu was one of the most terrifying characters among these people. Even in the Jiang clan, he most probably had an extraordinary status and was a genius that was heavily nurtured. Qin Wentian's perception was extremely powerful, but he still couldn't see through this Jiang Ziyu. Was he really as mysterious as Nam Huang Yunxi said? What abilities does the Jiang clan specialize in? Qin Wentian transmitted his voice to Nam Huang Yunxi. For such ancient clans in the immortal realms, they would all have their own specialties. For example, the Nam Huang clan had the blood of the ancient phoenix, allowing them to undergo nirvanic rebirth. You can't see through them, right? The Jiang clan is extremely mysterious and they have many different cultivation techniques. But from what the Nam Huang clan knows, the people of the Jiang clan all cultivate the Buddhist path. Nam Huang Yunxi transmitted her voiceover. Qin Wentian glanced at Jiang Ziyu. Jiang Ziyu was extraordinarily handsome and didn't seem like a Buddhist cultivator at all. Chapter 1043. The battles continued. Qin Wentian observed seriously. This group of people were all geniuses of the southern regions and it was extremely rare for them to have such combat experience. From their combat prowess, one could deduce how strong the geniuses of the southern regions were. Qin Wentian discovered that one could determine the strength of a genius from the immortal foundation they established. For those who established a mortal-grade immortal foundation, they were the weakest. Even if they established a third-tier mortal-grade immortal foundation, the third tier was the weakest among these geniuses. Similarly, the number of people who established such a foundation was also the highest. Above that, would be a fourth-tier king-grade immortal foundation. Qin Wentian could sense that there were quite a few people who had this type of immortal foundation. As for fifth-tier king-grade immortal foundation, it was extremely rare for cultivators within the third level of immortal foundation to have one. As for Qin Wentian, he had yet to see anyone with a fifth-tier king-grade immortal foundation. Jiang Ziyu was more mysterious and he couldn't tell. But if there were any fifth-tier king-grade immortal foundation here, Jiang Ziyu should be one of them. In terms of immortal foundation, it was clear that Qin Wentian and the others around him were the highest. This determined that their cultivation on the path to immortality would be smoother compared to others, and their combat prowess would also be stronger. Who do you think would be able to enter the ancestral lands? After 2 rounds of battles, Nam Huang Yunxi transmitted her voice to Qin Wentian. Right now, they had already won 3 battles. Nam Huang Yunxi won 2, while Qin Wentian won 1. Yu, Nanfeng Aoshua, Nanfeng Qingrua, Nanfeng Shinga, Nanfeng Shihua, Nanfeng Yu, Nanfeng Yi, Nanfeng Ling, Nanfeng Qing. Qin Wentian replied. They have already established a king-grade immortal foundation, and their combat prowess is one of the stronger 9. Although there are still some who can stand shoulder to shoulder with them, the people they invited to help them are all stronger. Nam Huang Yunxi's beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wentian as she smiled. Your eyes are truly sharp. These 9 people are the most popular among this batch of participants, and all of them were selected by you without exception. After 2 rounds of battle, I can roughly see their strength, Qin Wentian said with a faint smile. The battle continued. At this moment, there was another person who challenged Nam Huang Yunxi's camp. This person was a helper of a certain holy maiden and had a cultivation base at the 2nd level of immortal foundation. Nam Huang Yunxi glanced at Qin Wentian. She and Qin Wentian had agreed that if the saintess challenged her, she would fight. If not, Qin Wentian would decide who would fight. Mengchen, go ahead. Qin Wentian smiled when he saw how eager Jun Mengchen was. All right. Jun Mengchen's silhouette flashed as he appeared on the Phoenix arena. The expert opposite glanced at Jun Mengchen as he frowned and spoke with some unhappiness, letting a nameless first-level immortal foundation cultivator accept my challenge? Are you looking down on me? Could it be that he has also obtained the top ranker of the immortal ascension rankings before? Qin Wentian was only at the 1st level of immortal foundation, but his fame had spread far and wide. He had killed the descendants of immortal emperors before and obtained the top ranker of the immortal ascension rankings. It was understandable that his combat prowess was strong. But who was this man now? He looked so young, perhaps even twice his age. Wasn't this a humiliation to him? If you want to fight, then let's fight. Why are you so long-winded? Are you sure you can win? Jun Mengchen was even more displeased. Was he looking down on him? That person flicked his sleeves and stared at Jun Mengchen. If I, Jun Mengchen, can't even defeat a nameless first-level Immortal Foundation character, how would I still have the face to stay in the Namhuang clan to aid the Holy Maiden in battle? Shameless boasting. Jun Mengchen roared in rage. With a loud roar, his aura erupted forth as the Southern Phoenix Arena transformed into a world of its own. Jun Mengchen's Immortal Foundation gushed forth as a world of its own appeared in the air. This world seemed so real, and its might swept out, enveloping his opponent within. Jun Mengchen was clad in armor, exuding an unparalleled aura, resembling a god of war. A terrifying immortal sense could be seen in the center of his brows as his spirit and energy surged to the extreme, transforming into a supreme battle will. His body exuded the aura of an emperor, and with a wave of his hand, the energy from the world of its own instantly gushed into his fist. It was like the fist of a king in chaotic times. The expression of that expert surnamed Jun Mengchen abruptly changed. When he felt the pressure from the world of its own, his expression changed unceasingly. He released the might of his Immortal Foundation, yet it felt as though he was being suppressed. The immortal energy in his body was unable to circulate smoothly. He was a level higher than Jun Mengchen, but his Immortal Foundation was actually being suppressed. This was simply unheard of. Jun Mengchen roared. He stepped out and instantly descended, punching out with his fist. Law energy transformed into a towering fist light that contained the might of a king, unexcelled in the world. The energy of the entire world trembled as the King of Chaos fist blasted out. That expert had a look of terror on his face. He couldn't even react. After he came to his senses, he frenziedly tried to resist, yet he discovered that Jun Mengchen's king might was able to suppress everything. Very swiftly, a thunderous boom rang out as that expert was flung through the air, heavily injured. After Mengchen entered immortality, his Immortal Foundation became perfect and underwent another transformation. The mysterious physique that shocked the entire Dongshengshan gate back then grew stronger and stronger. Qin Wendian silently mused when he saw this scene. The eyes of the people in the surroundings flickered as they stared at Jun Mengchen. This was a nameless nobody. Are you even qualified to speak to me like this? Jun Mengchen glanced at the injured expert before turning and walking down the Phoenix Arena. From afar, the old men of the Namhuang clan exchanged mutual glances, as though they were conversing about something. Their eyes gleamed with a strange light. Seems like the people invited by Namhuang Yunshi aren't to be trifled with. Everyone mused. It was best for this group of people to avoid challenging them. Right now, they had already won all 4 battles. Most probably, one of the 9 inheritances would belong to them. Awesome. Qin Wendian laughed as he praised Jun Mengchen when he walked down. Jun Mengchen laughed, this fellow is too weak. That injured expert who walked down the Phoenix Arena almost coughed out blood from anger when he heard this. No matter what, he was a genius of the Southern Domain. Now that he was being mocked by someone, everyone soon discovered that when he returned to the side of the Holy Maiden, he only spoke a few words before he left. Earlier, he had already said that if he couldn't even defeat Jun Mengchen, how would he have the face to remain in the Namhuang clan? And now, as expected, he left. The battles continued, and as the battles continued, the chances of victory were gradually pulled apart. And as expected, the 9 holy maidens that Qin Wendian predicted all had a very high chance of victory, with almost no defeats at all. However, there was still one holy maiden whose faction was lagging behind. She was ranked 10th and had only lost a few battles. This holy maiden's name was Nanfengqiu. From Qin Wendian's perspective, she should be a holy maiden who established a king-grade Immortal Foundation. Also, among her 3 helpers, one of them was extremely powerful and had never lost a single battle. His strength might even be stronger than Nanfengqiu. Nanfengqiu's faction was able to catch up and was ranked 10th. His contribution was the greatest. At the end, Nanfengqiu even gave up on the other 2 helpers, only allowing that holy maiden to fight alongside her. But even so, she suffered a few defeats. This holy maiden's name was Du Han. According to Nam Huang Yunshi, he was a disciple of an immortal emperor. However, he had never denied it. This immortal emperor was an unaffiliated cultivator and was extremely mysterious. There were people who said that Du Han might be his son, but Du Han had never mentioned this before. He roamed the southern domain and gained quite a bit of fame in the Immortal Foundation realm. After that, he met Nan Fengqiu and fell in love with her. He had always been pursuing this holy maiden of the Namhuang clan, and if there were no accidents, Du Han might very well marry into the Namhuang clan. Qin Wendian stared at this Du Han. Among the participants today, Du Han could be considered one of the more powerful ones. In fact, he could even surpass the vast majority of holy maidens. No wonder Nam Huang Yunshi felt that he would marry into the Namhuang clan and marry Nan Fengqiu. After a few more rounds of battles, some of the participants had already accumulated to 36 battles. Many holy maidens already knew that they had no more hope. Only Nan Fengqiu still had hope. This was especially so after Du Han challenged Nan Fengqing's faction, which had a record similar to theirs, and defeated her. With one win and one loss, Du Han managed to tie with Nan Fengqiu. For the best battle, both factions chose the weaker holy maidens and won a battle. The final result was still a draw. The 36 battles ended. The top 10 factions all had extremely outstanding battle records. Qin Wendian's faction, which was at the first level of Immortal Foundation, actually won all their battles. However, they didn't clash with the other factions that were ranked higher. After all, this was just a selection battle. It was enough as long as they could enter the ancestral lands. There was no need for them to go all out. The battles after entering the ancestral lands were more important. Nan Fengqiu, Nan Fengqing, the results of your factions are the same. How about this? You don't need to choose those who are ranked lower than you to battle. Each of you can choose a faction that has to be ranked higher than you. If the victor isn't decided in a single battle, you can continue choosing your faction until a victor is decided. The beautiful middle-aged woman in the air spoke. Before this, Nan Fengqiu and Nan Fengqing had fought against each other. Nan Fengqiu narrowly lost to Nan Fengqing, but the person who helped Nan Fengqiu was stronger than Nan Fengqing. Hence, there was no longer any meaning for them to battle against each other. Okay, I will choose Nan Fengling's faction. I will fight myself. Nan Fengqing spoke. I will choose Nam Huang Yunshi's faction. Du Han will fight. Nan Fengqiu spoke. Both of them had made their choice.